Okay.
Yeah. All right, guys. So today, on this episode of capeseatfree, it's not really an episode.
It's an episode. It's an episode.
No, it's an episode.
It's an episode.
Yeah, you call it
These episodes.
This
segment.
This
gathering
episode.
It's airing.
Today we are drinking the Clown Shoes UndeadPartyCrasher American Imperial Stout. Got this from Verdon Liquors again. Cool little bottle.
Related. This one's got zombies and stuff on it, right?
Yeah. It's called the Undead. That's cool. And we're drinking from that right now. Go.
Wow.
Well, what's up,
I hope
guys?
drinking this doesn't turn us to a zombie. I don't know.
Hopefully not. Hopefully
Yeah.
not.
Thanks for joining us again. It's great to have you.
Yeah.
I think,
This is
I'm glad you're here.
We're doing the Avengers today. Les Avengers.
We've
I'm
assembled
excited.
here today to talk about the Avengers.
Good.
My favorite movie in the Marvel Universe. Not everyone's, but my favorite. So.
Yeah, this is funny because the biggest reason why I asked Ryan to come on this podcast with us is because, and I talked about this a little bit last time, is after I've never seen someone so excited for a film. And so you got so excited for the Avengers, we went and saw it. And then after that, you became the collector who you are now today because of this film.
This is probably partially true. Yeah, it was this movie that motivated me. So
Yeah.
got me going.
Right.
Saw it 4 times in the theater. I told you that. So yeah,
4 times.
loved it. Love this movie.
That's cute.
Oh, it was cute.
And this is Chris's favorite Marvel film.
I saw it 3 times in the movie. I saw it 3 times. Yes.
I don't remember how many times I saw it. At least once.
I'll say in the theater. I saw it 3 times in the theater. I can't tell you how many times I saw it outside the theater.
Oh yeah, I can't even imagine how many times I've seen it like at home or anything. Yeah, must be crazy amount.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, I'm Martin. Let's use intros. I'm Martin. I'm the Thought Junkie, here to talk about all of the social tree hugging hippie stuff that'll hopefully bring a tear to your eyes, like it does for me.
The environmental impact of the Avengers action. How much CO2 do they expel? It's expelled from Tony Stark's suit. Is it green technology?
I don't know.
That's what Logan talks about.
Go ahead.
Now I'm Chad, the resident movie nerd. I love all the behind the scenes stuff, the technical aspects, the filmmaking. All the its place in cinema, movie history, Hollywood stuff, all that stuff. That's my wheelhouse.
I like how every time you say cinema and movie nerd, it's like you end with a question mark, and you look at me like
Nerd.
Questioning the nerd part. Nerd?
I always forget what we have official titles on this show. The resident movie nerd.
Nerd.
Just add a question mark to the description below in our profile, just to match.
nice.
Okay. And this is Chris on the Film School Dropout. I watch it for the story, the characters' arcs. Yes, the big explosions, and how those big explosions connect the story. And,
Yeah.
We all love big explosions.
Yes,
We
we
all
want big
love
explosions,
big
but we want to have big explosions for a purpose.
Right.
I want to know why.
Should have a demolitions expert in here. I was a guest on one of these, talking about the practical explosions. Yeah.
Nice.
And I am Ryan, and I am they call me the collector.
Collector.
There are obvious reasons for that, which is I collect comics, and I invest in comics. 2.5 Teslas worth, as we last agreed. the half being a go-kart. But, I have the knowledge and the passion for the comic books, and I love the history behind them and what they meant at the time and what they mean now, and that's what I like bringing to the table. So
Right.
that is me.
Ryan has the actual. Which comic is this? Tell us about this bad boy.
So yeah, this is I'm gonna take it out. So it's a very low grade comic, the one that I got. I bought it specifically for this. It's called Avengers Annual #1. It's from 1967. I don't know if it's the first time, but in this comic, the old Avengers and the new Avengers team up to face all these villains on the front of the cover. So you got they're going up against the Mandarin, Swordsman, Living Laser, Power Man, the Enchantress, the Executioner. So there's a lot of stuff going on in this comic, a lot of action. The cover was done by a famous artist named DonHeck. Interiors were penciled by, I think it was GregRoussos, and it was written by RoyThomas, a very famous writer in the Marvel, Marvel, and also he was an editor for them for a long time. So very cool book. Cost me $30. So yeah, that's Avengers Annual 1.
Can we touch this one?
Touch it, smell it. Yeah,
we couldn't-
smell the
oh,
interior.
wow, smell
It's
it.
fun to
We
smell
couldn't
comics.
test. We couldn't touch the last one. How many of there are these out in the world, do you think?
It's tough to say.
Sorry, what year is this from?
1967. It's hard to say, to be honest. So back in the day, collecting really wasn't as prevalent, more so until the 70s, maybe mid-60s, which this was around that time. But, a lot of them were probably ripped to, just thrown out, other things at the time. So I'm not sure what the print run on this would have been. It could have been 100,000, give or take. I'm sure there's a decent amount left. It's not rare. This is not a book that's tough to come by online, but it's just a cool early, Avengers book.
I wonder what happened if you mailed stuff to these addresses.
Well, I can tell you nothing will come back anymore, unfortunately.
We have to give praise to probably the most instrumental Caper of the Week of the entire podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The behind-the-scenes fifth Caper crew.
She's listed as an author on iTunes. She is an author.
I did not know that
as well, because she's been there since day one.
Well deserved.
If
Maggie?
you guys are, Maggie Ramsey.
Maggie Ramsey.
Happens to be my wife. I don't know. We'll throw that out there.
She's the magic behind the capers.
If you're looking at our page right now while you're listening to this, and you see our awesome neon cool logo and all of the colorful art for each of our episodes with all the characters and from the movies and stuff like that, she makes all of. She's really good at Photoshop.
She's technically the man in the chair.
The man in the high castle?
But she's the woman in the chair. The woman
Spider. Spider-Man says, or Spider-Man's sidekick.
Wait, did Maggie invent the Matrix?
Oh, no, I know what you're talking about. The guy in the Ned in Homecoming. Yeah, she's the one in the guy in the chair. I want to be the guy in the chair.
What are you talking about? I'm so confused.
You remember Spider-Man Homecoming where Ned wanted to be talking to Peter? He wants to be the guy in the chair, the one helping the hero. And then he gets to Alfred. Maggie's the guy in the chair, the girl in the chair, behind the scenes, making things happen. Putting helping to catch people's attention with our colorful logos and art and stuff. And if you go to our YouTube page and just look at our videos list, it is so colorful and beautiful.
Chet, you're monologuing.
It brings a tear to my eye.
I agree. It is really cool to see all the videos, and it's just gonna keep on getting bigger.
Yeah.
Season 2, we're probably gonna readjust the design a little bit, which is gonna be fun to see. And
don't give away the secrets. Oh, don't give away the secrets.
Did we tell them? So Maggie, we raise our beers.
We raise our beers to you, Maggie.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
This beer that we're drinking right now during Adventures.
Thank you for your assistance in making capeseat-free all that it can be.
And with that, let's get into our second.
My second. Your guys' third.
It was technically our third, but our second one with all of us together.
It's the next movie we're doing. All right, we'll just keep the count like that.
We're doing the Avengers.
Start this right now.
The
We can
Avengers.
start this right now.
Oh well.
We can start this right now. Look at it. Go into view.
Here we
full
go.
screen.
Let's do it.
Can't show you guys because of copyright infringement. See a countdown.
Copyright
We're starting from
infringement.
005, 4, 3, 2,
1.
1. Someone give me a go. Someone give me a go.
Go.
Giggity go.
Like Q1, go.
You really can't go wrong with the Marvel opening, can you? Isn't it just cool?
Yes.
Let's go.
I love
Love the
it.
Marvel
Something about I kind of like the simpler one. I know it's a little more complicated now and actually has clips of the actors and stuff. I kind of, it's still cool though.
Well, this one looks a little Tesseract-y for some reason.
It was.
I guess we'll find out why.
Now this was actually distributed by Disney, but Paramount's logo still gets placement on it because it was still part of the original 6-picture deal that Paramount and Marvel signed. I think that actually this was the second to last. The last one with the Paramount logo was Iron Man 3.
And this is the first one that was distributed by Disney, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. This is technically the first time we really get kind of introduced to Thanos. We just don't see him yet.
A little bit. Yeah.
To a degree, we know. We find out later that this is who this guy's talking to, this character, but we don't actually see him yet, I guess.
So this is Thanos talking right now?
No. This is his henchman.
No, Thanos doesn't talk. You just see him smile.
You just see him smile.
He just smiles and sits.
But we find out later that he was here in this part, obviously.
We don't learn till later on that this is the Mind Stone that we're. Oh no, wait. No, that's the Tesseract. Never mind. No, the Mind Stone's in Loki's scepter. The Tesseract is
Correct.
the
This
power.
is the Space Stone.
Yeah. Space Stone.
Yes.
Sorry.
This can transport you through space and transport you. Yeah, bring you where you want.
Here's where we start hearing the Avengers music because Silvestri
Yeah, the composer.
This is where you hear those Avengers themes that pop up through a lot of the future movies.
This is probably the most recognizable theme out of all of Marvel.
Right. Marvel has been criticized for not having very, some of the music is kind of just like not too iconic. But I think lately, especially with the Avengers stuff, Coulson.
Oh, Coulson.
We'll talk about this more as the movie goes on, but
Yes.
I think we've mentioned it in probably during Iron Man. I am a big fan of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the TV series. I've watched everything. So
As I am.
I have enough. Oh, yeah. So I love Coulson.
Yes.
Is this our introduction of that the female character back there?
Yes, Maria Hill. This is her first appearance.
Such a
Kobe
badass.
Smulders, yeah.
Is this her first one? Yes, this is actually. You're right.
So quick first appearance, and I just wanted to double check, but I knew I was right. Nick Fury, first ever appearance, Strange Tales 135, and in 1965, he was a white guy in the comic books,
Right.
but I love that they put Samuel L. Jackson as the character. I don't know if there was any contentious stuff at the time because of that. I think he did an amazing job. As
Well,
the
wasn't it?
character.
It was like in
and
around,
he embodies him. So.
Wasn't it around the year 2000? I was reading something that they kind of relaunched, redesigned, and they specifically designed Fury to look like Samuel L. Jackson with his permission. And then, of course, it was like 8 years later when they came to casting him for the feature. He agreed to do it and signed, a 9-picture deal. Now, up to this point, he had appeared in every single MCU movie. This is the 6th MCU. Oh, besides Incredible
Instead, he wasn't an Incredible Hulk.
But other than that, but then, we know now going forward, he's not in every one anymore. But I think when they were building up to this universe building for the MCU, he was like the connective tissue between all these characters and stuff. So now they use him more sparingly.
As far as I'm concerned, he is the best Fury I've ever experienced. He's awesome.
Oh yeah. I mean, come on.
Well,
Samuel
I mean,
Jackson's
if you guys remember
whatever.
a while ago they made a Nick Fury movie, starring David Hasselhoff as Nick Fury.
Wow.
Was that early 90s? What was that?
Oh man, I'm gonna say
must
early
be pretty
'90s.
bad.
Don't quote me on the exact date, but it was very forgettable. So that's why I don't know.
Okay, here we go. We just got introduced to Hawkeye. That's
Well,
Tales of Suspense 57 is his first appearance.
Well, this is his second appearance. He was in Thor, right? Didn't we first see?
Yes,
him
he was in
right?
Thor.
So this is his
Yes.
second appearance in the MCU.
Oh, that's right.
But in the comic book, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Same with Dr. Selvig?
Selvig?
Yeah, that's... So we have some Thor characters. Apparently, originally, Joss Whedon didn't want to bring in any of the supporting characters from the other franchises to focus on the heroes, but he realized, kind of...
Oh, and that's right. We did see him in Thor too in the first one. A little bit, very little bit, but.
And Hawkeye's pretty wise because he knew that there's obviously something on the other end of the Tesseract. If you open the doorway, there's this end and there's that end. Just logic.
Now, S.H.I.E.L.D. has the Tesseract from
He's not
the
even a
events
scientist.
of Captain America.
Right.
When they dug out Captain America,
Right,
I
yes,
guess
when
they found it, or
They found the Tesseract because he
or-
crashed with the Tesseract. He was frozen with the
and
Tesseract.
it was Howard Stark that found it, if I recall. Not
Well,
actually,
Red
I think
Skull.
no.
Red Skull
Howard
had
Stark
it.
found it, I think, many years ago, and
Yeah.
that's how they got it, if I recall. I think he
No. Howard Stark. Yeah, Howard Stark was working with him in the first event in Captain America.
Right.
First Avenger. But when he crashed into the, and he was gone for 50 years. Howard Stark had been killed before.
Oh, I thought he got it. Okay, so I guess they
No.
dug
It
it
was
up with
it was at the end of I believe Incredible Hulk when they found the shield in the ice, and that was kind of when. So it's
okay.
kind of Shield found him.
All right, we just got
Introduced
Loki into this
Loki.
again. Journey into Mystery 85, third appearance of Thor, first appearance of Loki. He looks a lot different in the comic book. He does eventually get the horns, but
Isn't it great? Like, Loki's a pretty big, bad villain in this, but then, isn't it crazy his arc through the MCU? Like, you like him, and then you hate him, and then you like him, and you never know to trust him, but it's a testament to Tom Hiddleston's performance. He brings so much humor, and, Loki's great in, Ragnarok and stuff, even though he's still up to his old ways, and then, at the beginning of Infinity War, his, spoiler alert, his death, it's the end of an era for, losing,
Right.
I don't think he's coming back after that death. I think that's pretty permanent.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And two, I
We'll
love
see.
how, I wasn't familiar with Loki and his character arc or anything like that before the film, but it's cool to know that we had a character from Thor that became the main antagonist here in this film. And he has credibility. We look at him, I don't look at him as someone I'm physically scared of him at this point.
Yeah, I feel like Loki's character obviously started off a lot more serious.
Yeah.
you know, as the MCU went on, he became a little more. I mean,
Poor Jeremy Renner.
obviously a bad guy, but
Jeremy Renner. There's been 3 Avengers movies since he joined the MCU. First one, this whole movie, he's under a spell like the entire time. Second one, okay, he's normal in the second one. And then the third one, he just doesn't appear. So.
That's the way they're playing. I think he's going to have a big role in the last one.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
You know, it's interesting. I remember watching these movies and Loki being kind of the a very prevalent villain in them. I just kept thinking, like, I'm kind of tired of him. Yeah. Maybe by the time I got to... Was Thor 2 after this or before Avengers?
It was after this.
So I think by Thor 2, I was having a little bit of a kind of a Loki, a little tired of him. But you know what? You just can't go wrong with Loki.
That's why I made him a little more lighthearted, I believe.
They make him look a little more like sickly and greasy here because he's like the villain. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah, look at like the under his eyes. I feel like he's the makeup job.
No, I agree.
I feel like this will be my second time seeing this movie in its entirety.
Really?
Since it came out in theaters.
That's actually criminal, and I feel bad about sitting next to you right now.
Well,
yeah.
And once again, I think it depends how many bathroom breaks you take.
Right.
Whether you see the whole thing.
Chris goes to the bathroom during the credits. I go during the movie.
Exactly.
Yes, I like to watch the movie.
While I'm watching this today, I'm going to be thinking about good and bad, right and wrong, black and white when it comes to the decisions these characters make. I think we were talking about this offline. It's like so interesting to think about all of the conflict that comes from the inner workings of these characters. All of the protagonists have conflict within themselves that causes greater conflict throughout the entire film. It's not just the antagonist. It's not just Loki. It's not just the Tesseract. It's the relationships that they've created with each other. I think that's what makes the Marvel film so special, is because it's not like that comic booky feel, cartoony feel. Like there's real humans here that you see. There's real stakes involved.
So I got to ask a quick, fun little verse question: who do you think wins in a fight? Colby Smulders, Black Widow?
Black Widow.
She seems like a badass.
Black Widow.
I mean, Maria Hill's pretty badass, but I mean, Black Widow's
still got to give it to Black Widow.
Got, I don't know, training. Her like intense
Maria Hill ain't
Russian training is like pretty intense.
Okay, fair enough.
But she can hold her own, which is at the time this movie came out, Colby Smulders was, like 7 seasons deep into How I Met Your Mother or something. And people only kind of mainly knew her from that very comedic role, and here she was cast as like an action star.
And I would love to see that.
She's been an awesome
fight,
addition to the MCU ever since.
I wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
Wait, what'd you say?
I would love to see that fight.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
It was the first thing that hit my mind, and I just had to put it out there in the universe and see what people thought.
Yeah, so, I mean, I love too. Like, we talked about this before, but the fact that Marvel gives these women such huge roles and badasses. Like, you're just watching her go heads up with Hawkeye right here. This is great.
Well, I will say this. This is the first time we've seen Hawkeye. He's not that much of a badass yet.
Yeah.
He didn't fire a shot in Thor 1. Spoiler alert. He didn't fire a shot in Thor 1.
Not sure he's a real
and
spoiler.
the first thing he's doing is technically being a bad guy because his mind's been taken over.
Right.
We have to grow to love Hawkeye. We have to grow to like him later on.
We're going to talk about like Marvel's just willingness to go with Joss Whedon for this movie. Like at this point in his career, he had directed a lot of television, Buffy and Firefly, and he'd only directed one feature, Serenity, in 2005.
Wow.
Other than that, it was all television. Think about it, to hand him one of the biggest, that
was a ballsy move.
Probably the biggest superhero movie of all time. But obviously, he's a really gifted writer. He knows how to write ensemble stuff. He adds that humor, and he understands the genre stuff really well. And yeah, I mean, obviously, he pulled it off. But I mean, it's pretty crazy what he was able to do.
So what? Firefly was 05?
The movie Serenity was 2005.
Yeah, Serenity. There we go.
So I think back then at this moment in this movie, you didn't really think about the fact that like, holy crap, there are 2 Infinity Stones right next to each other at the moment. Back then you're like, it's like the Tesseract, it's the Scepter, but wow, I mean that's kind of crazy.
Me not being familiar with the comics, I didn't really know what movie did they first really start talking about the Infinity Stones. Well, like Doctor Strange.
No.
It was actually when they broke open I think they broke this one open in this movie later on. They break it open and they see the Mind Stone inside.
Because we know, every time you see Loki's scepter here, it's like, Vision, is that you?
But they didn't really
it's like little baby Vision. So, we know it's gonna be Vision someday.
Vision.
If Loki's scepter and Jarvis had a baby.
They didn't really get to until Guardians of the Galaxy when they actually started talking about
it comes
the
in
Power
earlier,
Stone,
yeah.
And then they actually say, "Listen, I can't hand over a fire, this Power Stone to the Collector."
We get the title, we get the Avengers title, badass title treatment.
Well, it was
Marvel's Avengers. The theater cheered when this happened.
It was Avengers 2 that Thor goes to that pool and you see the 4 Infinity Stones kind of come into play in space.
Yeah, that was a weird kind of sub. That almost felt like nobody knew what Thor was off doing. Age of Ultron. They were trying to tie it into the bigger universe.
Oh, I love this intro with Black Widow where she's getting beat up, but it's just a
ruse. Her hair is different in every single movie she pops into. Like it's like every MC. Sometimes
she's stylish,
red and straight. This is kind of red and curly. Sometimes it's long, and she becomes blonde. It's like. Because she's always kind of like on the run, kind of, especially.
Well, I mean, I think they probably. Other than being a choice probably by Scarlett Johansson, I do think it's like the fact that she's a spy.
Well, she went blonde by the time of Infinity War. She was on the run with Cap and stuff. So
she's a spy. She changed her looks, and I think that was part of kind of like a low key character development of Black Widow. And
the famous Black Widow.
Now, this is only her second appearance in the MCU, right?
This is
because
true.
Joss Whedon, after Iron Man 2, because Joss Whedon, the original founding members of the Avengers included Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I think Joss Whedon, some original drafts of the script he had, like Ant-Man and even the Wasp in there, but then they decided just to bring back Black Widow, which was already an established female character they had in the MCU, instead of adding more people. And obviously it would be several more years until we got Ant-Man and the Wasp into the universe. But.
So her first appearance was in a comic called Tales of Suspense 52. Came before Hawkeye, and she definitely she had much more of a kind of Russian feel to her than they give her with her accent in the movie. But Iscarjo. But I mean the red hair definitely plays in, and she's pretty.
Well, the Russian accent thing they saved that for Scarlet Witch, which only lasted for a movie or two, and then by the time Infinity War came around, the Russian accent had completely
the Sokovian accent
got killed off. Yeah,
I love this.
Just think about that.
Oh, she's supposed to be Sokovian in the MCU, or
her and Quicksilver, they're both from Sokovia.
Oh, okay.
Their parents were killed.
Which is supposed to probably be like a former Soviet Republic kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny, like the tone of this is so much more different than Infinity War. Like Infinity War wanted to be funny, and it was hilarious at some points. But my girlfriend was like, Infinity War, what it is, it's like your parents scolding you.
This is a good moment.
It's like your parents scolding you and like trying to then tell you a joke so you can feel better.
Well, here's the thing. So at this point in the MCU, Joss Whedon is known for injecting little bits of humor. She does really well in this. But the MCU wasn't really funny by this point. By the time Infinity War came, we had the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. We had Thor Ragnarok. They had gone which are pretty full-blown comedies in the MCU. Whereas by this point, the movies all have their little bits of humor, especially Thor had a lot of humor, fish out of water kind of stuff. But the MCU has evolved since this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. This is the 6th movie in the MCU. We just had movie number 20 released. There's 14 movies we've seen after this one in 6 years, which is kind of crazy. So... Yeah.
And I just want to say in this last scene where you see Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow. Black Widow. When they tell her that she has to see the big guy, and she realizes it's the Hulk. That's the first piece of fear you see in her face. It's like, oh, I gotta deal with the Hulk, and that's like, obviously she can handle. From that scene, you could tell she can handle any situation, but. This situation with the Hulk, which you'll see, it
definitely scares her a little bit.
We have Mark Ruffalo in his first appearance, Bruce Banner.
And his first appearance for the Hulk was in Hulk #1, 1962. Very early on in the phase of Stan Lee creating the different Marvel characters.
You know, I really like Mark Ruffalo in this role. Apparently, he was like Louis Leterrier's first choice for the 2008 Incredible Hulk. But it didn't work out, so they got Ed Norton. And I liked that movie, and Ed Norton was good in it, but I don't know, like, Mark Ruffalo is a much more sympathetic actor. I think so. You know what I mean? Like,
An interesting note, most people probably don't realize this, but he was actually gray in his first ever appearance in a comic book. He did not become green until Hulk #2. So
interesting.
It's interesting that they did that, but he became much more menacing, I'd say, when he was green.
I do remember that there were gray versions of him. I just didn't know why.
There's been different versions of the Hulk, and especially as of recently in the more modern time. But yeah, he was the color gray when they first did.
You know, at the time when they announced his casting in this, Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios had kind of a disparaging statement about Ed Norton, like, oh, we decided to not go. We decided to cast an actor who was like more of a team player, blah blah blah, and it was kind of almost a little heated. Like, I just got its sense it wasn't really about money, but it's like Ed Norton wasn't gonna like be a good. He didn't want to be part of the team.
What was the reason that Ed Norton got cut out? Did he?
No, that's what I'm saying. No, he said it was his choice, but Marvel made it sound like he just didn't want to be. He wasn't being very collaborative, creatively with everybody else, and Ed Norton said, remember the last shot of The Incredible Hulk is him meditating and like he like controls it finally or something like that. So, but this movie is all about him still not, still kind of wrestling with the control of it and stuff like that. Okay. And he's like, well, I thought I had gotten a grip on that by the end of the other movie, and so I think there's some creative differences.
I don't know if I'm not sure he's wrestling with it. You can tell he can kind of control what he wants to do. His secret is when he wants to be angry, he'll let it out. Yeah.
I mean, this version at this point, because I feel like when watching Incredible Hulk, that he is a little bit wrestling with it. He has control over it when he stays in hiding. Here, he's back in hiding again. He does have control over it. You'll find that he does wrestle with it later on in this movie.
Right.
But he's been. I mean, I think his previous story he did a lot of wrestling with it. Now this is kind of his way of dealing with it.
Yeah.
Just staying low key, getting to a point where he doesn't get angry and put himself in situations where this happens.
Right. You're correct. He does try to avoid it.
Great.
And that's the part. He got angry.
Or pretended
just to pull her bluff, show her bluff.
But like Mark Ruffalo is like he does have that like very gentle, he's very gentle, like sympathetic kind of guy. That's why it's great casting, because then
I never really thought about that.
It really comes like I feel like, I don't know, Ed Norton always has that like kind of dangerous edge to him, but I kind of like that. You don't really get that sense with Mark Ruffalo. Like he seems like a very gentle, kind of soft-spoken guy.
I agree.
I don't know. It's good casting. And actually, if you think about it, he's the third actor to play Bruce Banner / the Hulk in a period of, at this point, 9 years. Because 2003, you had Eric Bana. Right. 2008, you had Ed Norton. And then here, 2012, you had him. Yeah. It's almost the same. Spider-Man, you had 3 people play Spider-Man in a period of 9 years as well. Between Tobey Maguire and Spider-Man 3, 07. You had Andrew Garfield between 2012 and 2014's Amazing Spider-Man, and then Tom Holland starting in 2016. So it's almost the same period, 3 different actors playing a major superhero in a period of 9 years. Wow. And it's amazing that these studios have been able to recast and still stay successful. And
so this is what I love about Nick Fury, man. He's talking to this what looks to be some secret special government group or whatever, right. And he's just does his own thing. He's just a badass.
Now, the one right to the right of Nick Fury here in shadow, I think maybe you see his face later, is Powers Booth.
Yes.
Great character actor who just passed away last year, actually. He's been in a lot of things. It's on seasons of 24, all sorts of stuff. But I think he might pop up in later MCU movies. I'm not
sure. This whole council pops up in Winter Soldier.
Right, but you find out, I don't think you learn his name here, but you find out later on his name's Gideon Malik. He becomes a major character on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
That's right.
And he turns out to be Hydra, and you find out his whole backstory and his son and all sorts of stuff on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So now here, this was the credit scene at the end of Captain America, right?
Yeah, the first Avenger.
So what we have here is Captain America. First ever appearance was in actually Captain America Comics #1. In the early 40s, I want to say it was 1940 in that time frame. Very different kind of Captain America back then. You had Bucky with him as a very young, kind of almost child, teenager. His first Silver Age appearance later on was Avengers #4. So they didn't even bring him into the Avengers universe in the comics until 4 issues later. So that's an interesting note. In the early 60s.
And this is we don't exactly know how long he's been here since since the first Avengers, but it seems like he's stayed inside and out of the world.
What I like about this too is I'm looking at these characters from the point of view of how many of these characters are dealing with something on the inside where they feel like they're the villain of their own story. Because you think about the Hulk, he's afraid of this person that he is, that the rage-filled person. And you think about Black Widow, she has her past that she's afraid and doesn't want to necessarily deal with, and that she is very...
she makes the comment about I have red on my ledger. I mean, she
She's
not
not proud of it.
past. She's not,
How many other of our characters are dealing with some type of an inner struggle like that?
I feel like all of them are, because it's Tony Stark. His red in his ledger is the weapons he used to sell,
right?
In Iron Man, the weapons he used to sell to make wars around the world. This is why he became him. I mean, Captain America's drive is a little different because he wants to help. He wants to make the world better.
Yeah.
And he was small beforehand. When you see First Avenger, he was small beforehand, and this is his way of like adding to the fight, trying to make a difference.
Mm-hmm. He's just a good guy. He's a good person. Like he just is inherently as good as it gets. I mean, he's kind of the equivalent of the Superman version of the Marvel Universe if you think about it from that perspective. He just has a big heart.
Yeah, and he plays the moral center of the group.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, which is what we need.
But his weakness is that that's all he is, because he's a fish out of water. He came from another time period. He's not part of this time, so all he knows is the mission.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah,
He doesn't know how to live a
Tony
life.
Stark's introduction.
Underwater. What's he doing underwater?
He's making a clean energy source.
You know, the original,
he's
some of the original drafts of this movie had this from Tony Stark's point of view. This whole movie, which he was the only one of these characters had 2 solo movies.
Before
this came out, so he was kind of the established star of the MCU, but they just couldn't really get it to work. So
I was always worried about the conflict between Tony and Cap. I was wondering how you're going to work in Cap becoming the leader of this, and I think they did it pretty well. By the end of the movie, I feel like Captain America is the leader of the Avengers.
See, I feel like Captain America is the assigned leader of the Avengers.
it's a great reveal.
Meaning that
Interesting.
Tower.
You going, Chris?
Tony Stark was kind of the lead. Tony Stark was the lead, but he didn't want to take on, I guess, running missions. He just wanted to do his part, where he states in the other movie where he make everybody look cool and all the digital mix. He wants to do his part to make good, but he doesn't want to sit there and deal with all the people.
Yeah, he does pass. He passes the torch.
Yeah.
Towards that in that third act, he passes the torch and says, literally, "What's the plan, Cap?" Like those 5 words or whatever it is were so impactful to the rest of Captain America's journey as Captain America.
Yep.
Like that was the Hulk Hogan Andre the Giant moment right there.
And it's also partly with him too, as far as his character arc, because that was kind of the first time he kind of gives up control. Being obviously this guy wants to be in charge and control all the time.
Right.
He kind of releases control of something to. He obviously trusts Captain America enough to release control of the Avengers to him.
Right. Pepper Potts. What color was her hair in Iron Man 1?
Was it blonde?
I think it's like this. I think it's like blonde red, something like that.
Does she progressively? No, she goes from you're right. I think she goes from red to blonde.
Yeah.
So she wasn't wearing
It's
those
a different
sexy
style.
shorts last time.
Oh yeah,
saw her,
she was a
that's for
servant.
sure.
Now she's in
looks
the
good
house.
this movie.
Yeah. So I need to double check one thing, but yeah. So Iron Man's first appearance in the comics was Tales of Suspense 39. In if I recall, it was a silvery version of him, or maybe it was gold. Can't remember for sure. But Pepper Potts and Happy Hogan didn't come until 6 issues later in Tales of Suspense 45. But he was an interesting character in the comics, to say the least. Very narcissistic.
Yeah.
which they portray very well with Robert Downey Jr.
Did he just mention life model
Yes, he
decoy?
did. He did mention life model.
Wow,
decoy.
see, I know what that is from watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes.
There was the whole was it last season or the season before with Ada and life model decoy.
So
Yeah,
what is that?
that was
What
a-
did we just get?
What is that?
Yeah, we just
It's
have
it's kind of like
Fill us
replicants or almost like on Westworld, like the hosts
Ah.
and stuff, like indistinguishable from real humans, but they're artificial intelligence, recreations of humans. And that was you couldn't tell who was real or not on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Life model decoys was a big technology. Wow, that's crazy. This is like
because
it's
this
like
came
5
from
years before it comes up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or something.
Yeah,
like that.
so
That's
it
crazy.
came-
Wow.
They actually took this. They must have took it
Interesting.
to put on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They took it from here.
Wow. Okay.
There's a whole storyline of the whole season where these life model decoys they make these robots. They're androids that take place of some of the S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah,
agents on
Fitz
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
helps develop that. Yeah.
and then it gets banned.
Wow.
But then one of them kind of takes a whole other season, kind of like turns it into the Matrix.
So-
But go ahead.
I don't remember Pepper and Coulson being that close after the first Thor movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was really funny the way Joss kind of played into this little side friendship between Pepper and Coulson. Sans, Tony Stark.
Yeah,
I
Well,
think
you
it
mean
was
the
kinda
first-
funny.
doesn't she ask him about his girlfriend because he has the cellist from
Yeah, it's
is it
kinda
Seattle
funny.
or something, which you do find out more about that in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well.
Yes.
You get a little bit more into
You do.
Actually,
Coulson's
that's
personal
true,
life
yes.
and everything, yeah, which is great.
Oh, we should
It's funny.
It's like, why are they suddenly just like good friends? We
Right.
don't even know why. But
Well,
It
maybe
shows
they've
that
been
progression.
talking in between movies. They've been
Yeah, and the
talking
thing
about
is,
things.
at the end of Iron Man, he kind of helps save her life.
for sure, yeah.
I think it was funny. There was a line that Tony Stark says, "Your first name is Agent."
Yes, that's good.
He is about as witty as it gets. There's no doubt about it. So now he has the screens up with all, or at least he did, with all the different
clips from the different movies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the characters. That was cool. And he's got the Tesseract in his hand, at least a 3D image of it.
So we have not seen Thor yet, right?
No, he doesn't come for.
He doesn't come until there's beef.
We're almost 30 minutes in, and we've introduced almost every major character except for Thor.
Yeah, it's interesting because Iron Man was just introduced, and he was the biggest character right now. But
Well, that's interesting too because Thor obviously is the one who wants to help Loki the most. So I think you're right. Yeah, he doesn't come in. Thor doesn't come in until shit gets real,
yeah,
and then he saves Loki, doesn't he? Does he save Loki?
It's not so much that he saves him. I think he just
he doesn't save him. He tries to arrest him. He tries to take him back home.
You want because this is after Thor 1. He didn't know what happened to him. Thor,
Right.
where did Loki fall into the sky, the
Yes,
bridge? Where
yes,
did he
yeah.
fall to?
Yeah, he didn't know he went.
Kind of just in the middle of no, he just went into space. So I guess the first time seeing his brother again, he just kind of wanted to get him back and figure things out. He almost seemed kind of sentimental towards him.
Is
to be
this
honest.
when Coulson's talking about how big of a fan he
Yes.
is?
I watched you while you were sleeping.
So good. So good.
I got cards of you. I've been collecting them for a while.
He helped design the
Yeah.
suit.
Well, you find out later in the movie he has like all the trading cards and
Yeah,
stuff in his
yeah.
locker.
Oh,
Can you tell me the first appearance of Coulson?
I do not. I should have checked. I do not know what Coulson's first appearance.
Because
Hold on.
Coulson was created
You
for the
had this thing
movies,
called a pocket
but they
computer.
added him to the comic
Or
books
pocket computer.
afterward.
Oh, they
They
did.
did.
Okay.
Okay.
Really?
Yes, he wasn't a character before.
So
was a
he
character
first popped
afterward.
up in what? Oh no, the first Iron Man. He pops up in
Oh yeah, no, and he's throughout the first Iron Man. But we don't know he's part of Shield. We just think he's just a guy who's trying to get a meeting with Tony.
So was there ever a payoff of what's that professor's name from Thor?
Eric Selvig or something.
Was there ever a payoff with him turning evil and back to good?
At the end of this,
No, he turns back to good by the end of
yeah,
this.
he helps.
He gets after the spell is
We'll talk about that later, but yeah, he
broken.
actually helps.
Yeah, because then he's back for Thor: The Dark World a year after this.
Mm-hmm.
Now I want to say this because when I first watched this, I wasn't sure if this was like kind of a mind transportation, so they could they can communicate with Loki, or if he actually teleported. Now knowing what this stone, actually, did he just teleport back to this strange planet where did we find out his story and who hired him?
So if these are minions of Thanos, where's
This is the Centauri.
Where's
The Chitauri.
Where's
Chitauri.
like Ebony Maw and Proxima Midnight? I guess
Well,
off
they're
with
probably
Thanos.
they're off.
Well-
into the, no, Thanos is here, but they're probably off
Right.
in the universe doing some bidding for him.
Well, Thanos is not actually here. This is the
Yeah.
Chitauri, which they're doing their bidding, but they're not
Well-
they're not at Thanos' house right now.
Well, I think Thanos is in that.
Not at Thanos' house.
I think Thanos is in that chair.
His house on the
We just
meteor
don't see him until
floating
the end.
in space.
Yeah, because we do
He's
see
on
it
the
later
throne,
on.
right?
Yeah. Oh,
Because this is where Thanos essentially was the entire time. We just don't physically see him until the end of the movie for whatever reason, the way they wanted to do it. But they could have shown him at any time. I think he was in the chair, in his throne, just kind of chilling there.
yeah.
I like this guy, this kind of slave character to Thanos. Although he doesn't play that big of a role in movies, obviously.
Yeah.
At least by Guardians of the Galaxy.
So when it comes to villains in superhero films, I feel like one of the ways that we can empathize, or one of the ways that we like the villain, is that we empathize with them because we know that they have a boss that they are kind of like trying to please. Like we empathize with them because we all have bosses that we're trying to please, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that one of the vessels that is used to for us to like a villain?
So the fact that he's doing his job, he's
Yeah.
being forced to be bad.
Right. Because we have to like Loki.
That's not. Do we though?
Yeah.
I feel that this is his motivation, but I
Yeah.
don't know about like.
And then, Chris, to answer your question, you were right. It looks like Phil Coulson first appeared in a comic in 2011 called Battle Scars #1. Did not know that, so it's interesting. He did not come till much later.
Is it the first time Black Widow and Cap meet? I think so, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
At
definitely.
least on screen.
Yeah, right on screen, yeah.
Look at Cap's wardrobe. That's so sick. So old school. Like that leather jacket and the blazer.
This is great. Come on, how good is Mark Ruffalo right here? Just like wringing his hands, like wandering around. So
Pretty
good.
funny. I guess, how would you perceive Ed Norton, even in a small situation like that? What would he have done? Kind of looked very, like,
I will say.
confident.
Ed Norton, I would not buy Ed Norton just walking around wringing his hands.
Right.
It's just like
Yeah.
it doesn't.
But the thing is, Ed Norton has a quirkiness to him that he
He
would have did.
does.
He would have did that something different,
Does.
which I wouldn't have hated. But I do like this. I'm not
Yeah.
discounting Mark Ruffalo.
But Mark Ruffalo adds good, like, such good humor to it too, which is good.
I love this.
I love that that's what he thinks it is, and then they realize they're actually going in the air thousands of feet.
Want me in a submarine?
One of the best lines in this movie too, which doesn't come till later, is when they're explaining Loki's scepter is like the wicked witch of the west, like with their control over the flying monkeys or something, and like
Yeah.
Cap's like, I get that reference or
Right,
something.
right, that's pretty funny.
I love this line too that Mark Ruffalo delivers, like because obviously they know he's the Hulk.
There's much worse.
Yeah. much worse.
The line
Flying.
before is like, oh,
Yeah.
when he asks this is a submarine, he says, oh, they want me in a pressurized container under
This
the
is the
water.
first time we see a helicarrier
And
take
they're like,
off
oh,
in the
this must
MCU,
work.
right?
Oh yeah, this is the first time we see.
Because helicarriers become a pretty big thing in the future movies. This is like, what? It's like an aircraft carrier that flies.
That's a good, 35 seconds dedicated to how that helicarrier works, which we needed because there's so much stuff that happens later on in the film with the propellers and like all the action that happens.
Well, and the thing is that the helicarrier is a big thing in the Marvel in the Shield universe. That's like their main.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
So them showing it is a big thing for comic book fans.
Think about all the movies we got it in. We got it in this. We got it in Deadpool, essentially.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
We got it in
exactly.
Captain America's. The Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got it in
Ultron.
Avengers Age of
Ultron,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, they actually really do show them
Agents
a
of
lot.
Shield, all the Shield vehicles are pretty big. Big thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Now this is the first time you really see like the Shield operations in the MCU.
Yeah.
You'd only
Yeah.
kind of seen Fury and Coulson, but you didn't know like what they had. Like until now, 6 movies in, you're like, what? This is what Shield has.
I
Is
remember
it
seeing
invisible? That's
Well,
amazing.
They're,
Yes,
they're,
it's
they're
stealth.
reflecting
Stealth.
using light. Yeah, stealth. I remember thinking, like, how is that? That has to be a thing. Like, how can that not exist already? It's like they're using sort of light technology to visually not. That's so cool.
I love that.
What's the $10 from?
Earlier he says, "Well, I'll bet you can. You haven't shown me anything that I would be surprised at."
Yeah. That was
Like,
surprising.
You want it?
First time,
Fury and Banner meeting.
yeah. You're right. I never really paid attention too much how much like levity Mark Ruffalo brings to this character. I never really. That's
More
like,
than any other Hulk.
Well, that's the beauty of that character is because Bruce Banner is like I don't know if it's the same in the comics, but he's like kind of a timid guy, and he's stuck with this curse of like his such an angry kind of thing coming out of him, but like on the outside he's not like an angry guy walking around.
I don't believe he was very comedic the way Mark Ruffalo brings that. The levity, the relaxed kind of feel.
Right.
Like, you don't get that in the comics.
Right. I don't think Ang Lee's Hulk really had that.
No.
Either.
Eric Bana?
No.
It's like, when you think of Mark Ruffalo, what do you think besides this?
He was in romantic comedies up until
13 going 30?
Right, exactly.
I think.
Oh, it was just rumor has it was just. I think I saw that on TV the other day. I believe he's in that too.
Wow.
So right now we have Eric Selvig working together with Hawkeye.
Yeah. I love that effect with their eyes.
I love him. You see he's going crazy too because he hasn't shaved. His stubble looks crazier and crazier. Although Jeremy Renner's still perfectly shaven.
And that leads into Thor 3, of course. I mean, Thor 2, excuse me, where he's like just a nutty guy. Very nutty Eric Selvig guy.
That's badass. Whenever he like opens up the bow.
Oh, Hawkeye.
It's just something about Hawkeye. Like, we don't know who he is yet, but I just feel that he's a badass. Like,
well, you don't learn, and then you learn about, was it Ultron? You learn about his whole secret family and all that.
That was cool.
It's a cool reveal.
So we have Coulson still kind of going head over heels for Captain America here.
Martin, how long would I have to go to the gym, do you think, to get my arms to look like Chris Evans there?
For you?
Maybe 7 years.
and some steroids as well. I think you'd have taken some.
Oh, here's Sitwell.
Yes.
Jasper Sitwell. Is this his first appearance? Or
this is
no. Now you learn in what is it in Winter Soldier that he is Hydra.
Yeah.
He's secretly Hydra.
I never realized that.
Yeah. He's actually in Shield, Agents of Shield as well.
Yep, and he pops up in Agents of Shield.
That is so cool.
But then he gets killed off in Winter Soldier as well, right?
When I hug you guys, can we just like whisper "Hail Hydra" into each other's ears?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
We need a little ring or something. Yeah.
I'm ready to do it.
Okay, so what's this place? What's this?
Well, in real life, at least the exterior, this is Cleveland, Ohio. This was when is when Marvel was still using Cleveland, including Winter Soldier and all sorts of stuff. Well, my wife being from Cleveland, I've now gone to Cleveland several times over the last few years and seen a lot of the street scenes in this also take place here. But yeah, Marvel filmed in Cleveland for several years until they moved to Atlanta.
We just state the obvious here. We just saw Hawkeye shoot arrows into soldiers, killing them. It's kind of violent if you think about it. It's not just like taking them out like with some sort of a drug. It's like killing them.
He was killing them. Yeah, he was hitting them in the neck.
Yeah.
I mean, how cool is it that somebody like a modern hero uses a bow and arrow? It's such an ancient weapon.
It's enhanced.
Like Robin Hood uses a bow and arrow, but it's like, when you're skilled with that, you can still kick ass.
Oh yeah.
I feel they do a good job, but it's a hard time because I don't know when his first appearance was, but I'm sure that was a big thing, making him a superhero that sets his bow and arrow. But nowadays, it's like it's not practical whatsoever. Why would you still use a bow and arrow?
Yeah, because you have to retrieve. You're gonna run out.
Once again, like you were saying, I think they do a good job of giving him unique tools with each arrow to make it more badass. Explosions.
Yeah, and they do a good job with that. But they have.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate Loki's outfit in the scene? Like he's all dressed up for like the fancy event with like his long coat and tie and like. It's amazing.
Oh my
God.
God.
To see,
the eyeball? Oh.
Yeah, they needed to get the eyeball.
So first appearance of that eyeball was in the comic called Eyeball Number 1. Just kidding. Comic book humor for you guys.
So we really get to see Loki shine.
They're supposed to be in Germany, I believe.
No, that's correct. Yep, they're in Germany.
He got out of that suit.
So this...
He didn't like those comments you were saying.
So Loki now has his very infamous... horn things with the helmet, and that is the Loki that we first see in his first appearance in the comic book. So now he's really got the Loki look that I'm used to knowing. And it's badass.
So the Loki that we know from Thor 1, was that anywhere near the comics?
Yeah, I mean, he's very menacing.
It's kind of his origin story, so yeah.
Loki really, they really morphed the character from the Marvel the cinematic universe over time to make him much more sentimental. That is not the Loki that we know from the comics at all. He's always a menacing villain, so... Yeah. Which I think we all... I appreciate the way they kind of change it over time. It's interesting.
I appreciate it, because, I'm sure a lot of the characters back then, when their first appearances, especially the villains, they were just bad guys.
Yeah.
And they just wanted to do this, or they wanted to take over the world.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. And then giving them a lot more, giving them more
Some
reasons why, and give them more depth.
Yeah.
And that's what they do with
Does
MCU.
Loki have this horned look in the comics as well?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's
He does. Okay.
I don't
that's
think
how
it's practical in real life, but hey.
I was thinking about how great, like, at one point, doesn't Tony Stark call him Reindeer Games?
yes, he does. Yes, he does. And now we know why.
The antlers, yeah. No, his nickname's Point Break. Reindeer
Break.
Games. Yeah, he's got a
Doors.
So what's Loki's goal here?
Total submission. I would
No,
think.
actually, this
Right?
is distracting because Hawkeye is actually stealing what they need for their machine that they're building. And so he's causing distraction.
I've stood in this spot.
But he
This
did
is
need
right
that
in
eye.
downtown Cleveland.
Chris, you're right. I was thinking from when you asked, I kind of thought from an overall perspective, like
Oh,
what's
yeah.
his main goal. But right, Chris is saying what his goal is in the moment. That's true.
Ooh.
And-
The appearance of Cap.
And that was actually, I don't know if anyone really digs into that, but that old man, I mean, if you think about it, Germany, World War II, the Holocaust, that guy had a German accent. They kind of played into the origin of Captain America of fighting Hitler a little bit there in a
Actually.
very subtle way. It was
Well, yeah, he
interesting.
just references last time I was in Germany.
Right,
Yeah, a man
exactly.
standing
So
above
I thought that was
everyone.
really cool. They did that in a very small moment.
No, seriously, every time I go to Cleveland, we go downtown, right by in this square by the statue. I'm like, this is where Loki had everybody on their knee. Like, it's great. It's really cool. One of the biggest movies of all time.
That's
you know?
cool.
I love that they weaponized his scepter in a way where he can shoot like energy blast, even though it's just the Mind Stone in there. I thought that was really interesting.
Ooh.
I like-
Cap just threw his shield at him, and Loki was like, "Nah, sit down."
See, I like how Captain America will squab just straight up. He'll just fight
Yeah.
whoever.
Against a god.
Yeah.
Or a demigod, but demigod.
when we talk about when we talk about the next one when they fight Ultron, I love the scene when he fights Ultron.
If
straight
Cap can
up.
take on
But
Thanos,
Avengers
he can
1.
take it.
Here we are.
Oh, Cap can't take on
Okay.
Thanos.
Did Cap really take on Thanos?
He
though?
did not take on Thanos. He,
He
cannot
got
take on
punched
Well,
in the
he
face.
kind of like
He held him for a
tried,
second
he
though.
tried.
Thanos. If you
That's
mean,
like me running
Go ahead, someone
against
talk,
Usain Bolt. Like, am I badass for like
No.
attempting?
Well,
you're not.
no. I'm saying, hey, if for the first 10 yards you kept up with them, I would be amazed.
10 yards? Out of the blocks he's taking me.
Exactly. That's the difference. He actually, he held him.
All right.
So I'm not sure Iron Man and Cap even at that point would have
Knew each
been
other.
enough for because
Oh,
clearly
right.
we find out later that he meant to do this. He meant to back down. So Loki might have still been able to hold his own against both those guys together. I don't know.
Right,
Would have been
you're right.
interesting.
Yeah.
Loki was a badass.
Wait, when
nice.
have they ever met?
It's first time.
Oh, okay.
No,
Captain-
first time
they know of each other.
Captain America met his father, met Howard Stark,
Right,
but he
right,
never
right.
met Tony before.
Ryan and a previous podcast, which we haven't necessarily released yet.
What do you know, Pilates?
Pilates. We made the comparison that the Stark family is like the Skywalker family in the Star Wars. Like everything revolves around the Stark family.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
we're
yeah,
now
see
going
Thor.
to
Here
Thor.
we go.
Here we go. How many?
Loki's worried.
48 minutes in? Yeah,
Loki's
43
worried.
minutes in.
So we're about to get introduced to Thor. First appearance was in a comic called Journey into Mystery 83 I believe it was 1962, I think. And what's interesting is Journey into Mystery before Thor, before they introduced him, was a lot of horror stuff. It was like big spiders and big, almost like prototypical. There was prototype characters, like
Yeah.
a huge Magneto character that was kind of like a prototype for the eventual Magneto. But this really introduced Thor into it, and then from Journey to Mystery 83 on, it was all Thor from that point on, and then eventually it became Thor in his own comic book. So
Wow.
yeah,
I was saying, this is crazy. They have no idea who Thor is at this point.
Yes.
They have no idea.
well, when Tony was looking at those images on the screen, did Thor not pop up on those like at all, or
No,
Well,
no,
she was just like, is this another
Well-
Asgardian? Yeah.
Well, he did the aftermath from Thor 1 did,
Right.
but
okay, but he didn't know who he was, so I guess
Right.
this is still new for him. Yeah,
There's only one
there's only
guy.
one God man.
Oh, that's amazing.
Well, just like Infinity War had to, mix together Guardians of the Galaxy and all these other things that have been established. At this point, you had the really out there Shakespearean space stuff of Thor mixed with the more technology-based Iron Man, mixed with, Captain America, which had some historical but also some fantastical elements, and you had to mix those all together at this point.
Thor's dialogue. I'm not meant to be in a gaming mood. Oh, it's so
good.
awesome.
Shakespeare in the Park.
Yeah, Shakespeare in the Park. So
That's
fun.
what he says later. Does mother knoweth?
This is before he went more, full comedic after like Ragnarok and into Infinity War. but it just works. It works really well. And Chris Hemsworth is very good at that too.
Could they have gotten a better actor to play Thor? I mean,
Yeah,
really?
actually, it's funny though. In the interview, they had interviewed them all during this movie, and someone asked them like, who is more like their actual character, the actor in real life? And they're like, everyone said Hemsworth.
Really?
It's
Interesting.
like this is.
You know, when Tony calls him Point Break in this later, like we said, but I love how that joke comes back in, isn't it Ragnarok?
Yeah, it does.
When he goes into, he's trying to activate the ship,
Yep.
and he's saying
Strongest
all the names,
Avenger.
and he's like, strongest Avenger.
Nothing happens.
And he's
Nothing
like,
happens.
Point Break, and he walks. It's like, welcome, Thor.
You cannot beat
So
Tony's
good.
humor, man.
That's
It pops up
right.
in every
It's
movie.
so good.
So this is Loki kind of giving Thor his plans of what he's trying to do. He's talking about wanting to bring the world to submission. That's his goal.
Why does everyone always want to bring Earth to submission?
Because it gets said later at the end of this movie in the posting credit where that slave to Thanos is like, you cannot bring the world. They are a fighting. I can't remember verbatim, but that's why. When people won't back down, you kind of want them to back down. So maybe that's why the villains are constantly
That
coming
makes
after
sense.
us.
Yeah. I love the conflict between brothers.
Mm.
It's any of you guys have brothers? You have brothers, right?
I have a brother.
No.
Yeah,
I
Chris?
I have two brothers. Yeah.
Just a sister.
Just a sister.
I have two
We've
brothers.
had our conflict when I was younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Because-
mean, it was never to this extent, but yeah, I had a conflict. Yeah.
You no matter how much conflict you get into with your brother, you're always going to love them, and they're always
Yeah.
going to be there for
I
you.
love this.
What was that?
Oh man.
Yeah,
I think this is the Josh Whedon aspect of the
This
added
reminds-
humor
Yeah.
to it, because these little scenes.
Don't take my
Don't
stuff.
take my stuff.
And
This
Iron Man
reminds me
says.
of Iron Man 2, that fight in the forest
Mm.
at the very end.
Shakespeare in the Park. There you go.
Shakespeare in the Park.
So what we're laughing at right now is Iron Man saying, "Doth mother know you weareth her drapes?" It's such a great line. This was a great fight scene too.
I don't understand how Tony can bring so much humor and so much opposite of humor. Can't think of that. It's like so much humor and so much seriousness at the same time, you know?
Yeah, and I just got to point out, I mean, Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, is extremely powerful. Do we not realize that he just threw it, hit Tony dead on, and it didn't even do
chest.
anything to his armor? That
Right.
should say something.
Like Tony's armor is
This
freakishly
is great right
strong.
here.
Freakishly
It's like
strong.
he thinks he's going to attack him with this lightning.
I love when Thor.
right here, it's like-
I love when Thor winds up his hammer and go like
Yeah.
the
And,
sound
and,
effect.
and what does it do to him, Chris? What does the lightning do to him?
It just charges up his entire.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just-
So it's
He just
like
made him more
Thor-
powerful.
I forgot about that.
They both can fly.
This fight is so fun.
It was. It was a nice little skirmish, kind of, halfway through the movie now at this point.
And if you saw Loki's just hanging out in the trees. Just
Yeah, he
watching.
knows. He already knows Thor, so he knows
ri-
what's going to
you
happen.
ride the hammer? No, it pulls me off the ground. Oh my god, the hammer pulls you off? Korg in Ragnarok is the funniest thing.
It's interesting. I never thought about it, but Loki
Oh.
doesn't even try to get away here, which I think feeds into the point of he wanted to get caught.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't even think about that. Like, he could have tried to get away here.
Oh, nice.
I don't know. His point was to get caught.
Yeah.
Thor was
But
what he
there was
was
no
planning
case.
for.
Right.
That's
right.
why he's hanging out until after this thing is done.
This is like what we can learn from this movie is at the human race is like, in order to succeed in life, you have to get rid of that damn ego. Like they were not
Yes.
able to
Gotta
become a
communicate.
team. Yeah,
It's
gotta
a-
communicate.
They don't realize they're like on the same side at this
Right.
point, you know?
Yeah.
And see, Captain America
Captain
will
America
jump
being
in.
the dad. He's the
Right.
dad of the group. Stop fighting.
Language.
Language. It's great.
So right now we're at was it
No,
Mexican
back
standoff?
up.
Like, this is great. Like, they're not a team yet, but they become a
Right.
team.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh man.
This
Hits
is,
the hammer
this
on
is
the
where-
shield.
this is where we get to see vibranium really in action. Like,
Yeah.
even Thor's hammer hitting the shield
Thank
dead
you,
on it
Wakanda.
still vibrates. And that, if you think about it, vibranium, it kind of vibrates his hammer back against
Yes.
him, so that's what's cool about it.
Yeah.
From Wakanda.
So, I guess we should talk since we just destroyed half the forest.
Right. Are we done here?
You guys, if you watch, you can see Snorky the bear back there crying. He's
burnt
sad.
down half
Martin, you're the tree hugging perspective.
You know how
They destroyed a lot of forests
so
right
much
there.
CO2 emitted there.
So I'm just gonna point something interesting out to you guys. If you look in the comic from Avengers Annual 1, you'll see Thor with his very famous helmet with the feathers.
Mm-hmm.
But notice that doesn't get brought out until Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, they kind of switched up the whole helmet.
They really did, yeah. Switched the looks up.
And he was known for the helmet thing. It was the hammer and the helmet that he was really known for.
Yep.
Oh, see, Loki. That's
Loki's devilish.
foreshadowing.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, the beast is here.
Yep.
Yeah.
And menacing Loki smile. Can't go wrong with that smile.
That's such a great smile.
There's
This
so
is
many
like-
good moments in movies with like a very dangerous person locked up and somebody talking to them into it. You know, it all started like Silence of the Lambs,
Right.
probably, and just like so many movies just do that very effectively. And this is a good one too.
And this is funny where Nick Fury kind of gets a little revenge on Loki because when Loki says, he makes that comment right in the beginning of the human race to a degree is like a foot, they're ants and, he's like stepping on him with his foot essentially. So now he's making the comparison, you, ant, the thing that he's in, foot.
Nice.
So it's a little bit of revenge, sort of.
I like how you finished that, what you were just saying, right as it flashed on screen. It's like you had that perfectly timed.
It was not intentional. I got lucky in that one.
See, this is the point where you realize that like this was part of his plan. Hawkeye had already told him about this cage, so he knows about it. This obviously you kind of see that all this is happening. He's playing it. He wanted to get caught. He wanted to be in this place.
Yep.
He knows about it already.
That's what it works. Like when your villain's always one step ahead of you, that's great storytelling. That's great cinema right there.
So now that we have all the Avengers in field and together, I'm just going to point out. So Avengers #1 came out in 1963. All the first Avengers were Ant-Man, the Wasp, Iron Man, Hulk, and Thor. So once again, no Captain America at that phase, but we don't get Ant-Man and the Wasp obviously.
Didn't
until much
they?
later. And they were up against Loki in that comic.
Didn't the original Avengers find Captain America frozen when they were looking for the Submariner or something like that?
That's a
They were
good
like
question.
they were searching the bottom of the ocean for, is it Namor?
Namor would be the
Namor?
Namor.
And I think that's
Submariner
I was
was
reading
also
something. I
correct,
think that they were
That's a good
searching for
question. I don't
him,
know.
and then they
That's a good
discovered
question. I didn't know
Captain
that.
America.
Me being the investment
Something
side
like
of it,
that,
never
something
read
like that.
Avengers 4 where I would have probably learned that, but because it's such an expensive book, when I buy it and I have owned it, I tend to not look through it because I don't want to damage it anymore. But no, it's very possible.
I didn't know that either. Yeah.
Here goes the Knights at the Round Table. Their first
Yeah.
discussion with each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Who's
doesn't.
got bigger biceps, Chris
Symbolism.
Evans or Chris
No,
Hemsworth?
Thor does by far. His are bigger.
Well,
I
'cause
don't
he's
know.
got the shirt.
Captain
Well, he's
America's
got the
like-
sleeveless look. Like
Oh no, Captain America!
America's
When
a
you took
rocket
his shirt
ship.
off, when he got that,
I
That's just
know.
a
pretty
big
big.
rip.
Well, if we're being honest, Hulk's got the biggest biceps.
Well, well, I mean,
Hold on,
I
Roy.
mean, Thor has the biggest biceps, comic book wise, but as actual,
Yeah.
film, look,
I'm pretty sure
TRT.
Chris Hemsworth has maybe 50 pounds on Captain America.
Yeah.
So I
Too many
don't know.
Chris's. No?
TV Chris's.
Too many Chris's.
Too many Chris. I read
too
it.
many
Got it.
Chris's.
Chris Pine
Yeah, they,
in the DC universe.
well, this Chris definitely does not have the biggest biceps here.
No.
So,
Can you imagine if John Krasinski was Captain America?
That would have been
Was he in
interesting.
the running for the cast figure for that?
I believe he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's tall.
That would have been interesting. That would have been
I
interesting.
can't see him being.
That's Point Break.
Jack.
First
I
time.
mean, he's playing Jack
Did we
Ryan
just get the
now,
first Point
but,
Break?
who knows? Is this the scene that ends with the random person playing the video?
Galaga?
Galaga. Yeah, guy's playing Galaga. Yeah.
He called him out too.
But the last
didn't
shot
realize
is just the guy going back to.
That was, I heard it was an improv.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I think Robert
And they just
Pattinson
add the
improv
shot
a
later
lot, and
on.
then they added that shot that ends this scene, which is great. It's such a random. I remember first. It's such a
Yeah.
random little shot. It's like what?
As a consumer, I felt like I was being taken care of and catered to at that moment.
Hmm.
With that
But I mean, this
small
is
little-
all of us at work, and like nobody's
Yeah.
like we're pulling up whatever, like Facebook games, like okay, watching stuff.
Yeah.
We all do that.
This is
They're
so
all
good.
they're all discussing Loki now and trying to figure out what his intentions are. It's kind of them first sort of coming together. We get, like you were saying, the round table feel, but there's still dissension in the ranks. Like you can easily feel it. So
Right. So
It's not like-
so him and so Tony and
Er-
Banner
yeah,
at this moment.
Bruce, yeah,
they're hashing out all of their differences. Like he finds like a common friend in him here.
Yeah, they start a kind of a bromance.
Yeah.
I mean, it starts here.
Thanks.
And I give Fury's like sweet Bluetooth thing he's got in his ear.
Yeah. It's so funny to look at Captain America's outfit.
Yeah, you don't
against
get
everyone else's. It's so weird and out of place.
very old school.
Yeah.
And he just referenced how the blasts do.
The
work
reference
like
they just did the
hydroweapons.
Wizard of Oz reference.
Oh, well,
but
that's
Thor doesn't get it, obviously. Yeah, I don't get that. Here we go.
Man, that's
It's Galaga. The guy playing Galaga. We finally got it.
I saw that
So
in theaters like, what?
I think everyone laughed at that moment.
What's so funny is it's such an old school arcade game too. Like that's just so funny about it.
So can we say that Tony Stark and Banner are villains because of the choices that they make, not only here, but in the second Avengers?
I feel like you would go more to saying competent heroes.
Well,
I'll go more with that.
their actions lead to Ultron in the next one, which
But
doesn't. Turn
It's
out
a good point. I mean, unintentional villains, if you want to maybe say
Well,
that.
the thing is, at the MCU, as you see it goes on, the good guys and the bad guys start getting mixed.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
it's not that technically that they're doing something bad. It's the reasons the reasons why they're doing this. Is that good or bad? Because in Civil War, they both have their reasons why, and they both come from good places. It's just their way of like doing something good is different from the other person's, which makes you bad.
And in Civil War, there's the scene right after Tony's talking at the university where the mother, played by that famous actress,
Alfred Woodard.
Thank you. She guilt trips him, and rightfully so.
Right.
And you kind of feel in that moment like, damn, Tony kind of was a little bit of a villain. I mean, he killed someone, saving the day, but someone died.
Well, Bruce and Tony are the technology guys, and it gets
So it's
out
a good
of
point.
hand sometimes. And
Yeah.
I love Cap's line he just had. It was like, "Is everything a joke to you?" He's not like he's not a wisecrack. And again, he's a dad. He's the dad, trying to keep things in order.
So, I mean, what's the message that these filmmakers are trying to tell us from that? I mean, you always talk about like science, and science gets so excited about what they can do. The whole Jurassic Park thing, but should they do it?
Should they do it?
Yep.
I think that's the
Chaos
question we're going through right now with some things. I wouldn't be surprised some technologies in the current real world.
What would happen if they decided not to? You know what I mean? What would happen? We would have a movie, of course.
Right.
We wouldn't have had the second Avengers. But if they would have decided not to do it.
Not to create Ultron?
Yeah, not
eventually.
to create Ultron.
Yeah, I don't know. Went a different route.
So Captain's uniform going forward, and so it becomes like more muted colors.
Much
It's
darker.
more modern, not as like flashy and.
But that's because his character shifts too.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
That's the feel at least that I got from that.
He's trying to catch up with the modern world.
Well,
so
yeah. Right now, his outfit is kind of like a version of the old school.
Right. Does it
19.
lose some of its patriotism as well?
Oh, I think it does.
Or because
Yeah, I
more armored,
definitely feel like it does.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Becomes much darker, like Chad was saying, for sure.
Spangly outfit.
Spangly
There we go.
Does it lose some of its spangliness?
So that's kind of a funny reference there, because in the comics, in the Golden Age, in the early 40s, there was a comic book called the Star Spangled... I think it was called Star Spangled Comics. So I don't know if that was on purpose, that reference, but that involved Captain America in that comic and a lot of those early characters.
Yeah.
So I don't know, little hints like that. You never really know if that's kind of an old throwback to like an early comic book or something, but it's funny.
This is so huge here because this is the first time Cap questions. Like, he loses that naive part of himself.
Yeah.
That's good is good, bad is bad. He loses that finally. This is like growing up, you know?
You feel like he's a kid that just found out there's no
Yeah.
Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Is there a Santa Claus? I don't know. Right. Sorry, kids.
Sorry, kids.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
For childhood.
Shit, I'd feel really bad now. I feel really bad.
You have to be over 13 to listen to YouTube anyways, so...
Yeah. To be fair, I am Jewish, so I didn't really know he was...
So you have no idea.
I didn't bring it up this time. I didn't bring up the G thing this time.
See, when you say it like that, it just sounds really negative.
It does. It does.
No.
Oh, man. Entertainment industry.
We're full of jokes, people.
So, is there tension here between
No,
these
this is their kind of like bonding moment.
Yeah.
You kind of like learn the differences between Banner and Tony Stark's Banner. I mean, Stark wants to be a hero, and his ego's getting away. Well, Banner just wants to lay low.
Well, we have Tony essentially he's attempting to appreciate what happened to Bruce and what he became of it, and Bruce just wants to be like, no, I'm not happy that I became how do you see that as a positive thing? You can control your situation.
Right.
I can't control mine.
Well, Tony's looking at it from a scientific, because like that much gamma radiation,
Right.
but then he's like, we'll see, like I think he's thinking ahead that it could be an asset to use that powerful force in future.
For sure.
And
but then how many? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Banner just feels like it's a curse. It's like, this is my life. Yeah. I'm stuck transforming into a monster. I can't live the way I want to live. So.
And then how many times have we seen someone try to control that power that is Bruce's gamma radiation inside of him, and it never goes well. Does not, never, because it's just too much raw power.
It's so interesting how us as consumers and viewers, when we watch something, like, we have to watch it from the point of view. Like, if we're watching Tony do something that's horrible, we give him a pass. But we watch a villain do something that Tony does, and we suddenly hate that villain. It's such that catch-22,
Yeah.
Well, because we know true intentions, and I don't know, it's...
But do we?
Well, we
Jane
think we
Foster.
do, yeah.
Right.
And there's a throwback to Thor 1. Jane Foster, Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
They couldn't get her
I
for
think
this.
she was originally supposed to appear in this, but then I believe she became pregnant, so...
I don't even remember seeing that image that they put on the screen. I gotta be honest, I think that was the first time I even remember seeing them show her in an image on the screen for that.
Really? Yeah, no.
So we have bathroom break number 1, people. Martin will be leaving us for a second.
I hate you guys.
What do you want me to do? So Thor's like, we come here to battling like Bill Schneip. And I guess that's some huge reindeer-like beast. I don't know. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Don't think so.
But there's obviously the message behind it that he's trying to convey.
And it shows obviously the contrast between the different worlds, his world and Earth. But how they are similar, because he was talking about how we're so advanced, but we still come here and fight each other.
I mean, Thor is arguably the most complex character in this movie, because it's his brother who is the one causing the mayhem and things like that, but he obviously has, he cares for Earth and the people on it and wants to help and things like that, and so...
Yeah, they all definitely have their own little complexities, but he definitely has that added element that no one else does. I agree on.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to reintroduce the amazing Martin. He is now back.
TheThoughtJunkie.
So we have Nick Fury kind of challenging Thor based off what they were going to do with Loki, and Thor doesn't look too happy about it.
Everyone's a little
Getting a
suspicious
little
that
sense that Loki's got some other plans in action here. Why do I feel like he's the only person who wants to be here?
That's one of the things I did not like about The Dark Knight.
It's my best.
Wait, there's something you didn't like about The Dark Knight?
And why are we going to The Dark Knight?
Well, we're even on Marvel.
I'll tie it back in.
Okay, tie it back.
I wish I would have seen Joker's plan. I wish I would have seen him creating some of those plans that he put in place.
But it's more of a surprise to the audience, because Batman's caught off guard by some of this stuff, too.
Right, but here it works so well.
Here what?
Here, not knowing what Loki's plans are works so well because they become slowly unraveled.
Oh, yeah. No, that's perfect.
Well, they're both very chaotic characters, Loki and...
I believe this... I mean, this is one of my favorite scenes in the movie, too, because we already seen her skills at the very beginning with interrogating people and how unorthodox it is.
This is just a random question, but how come there's no toilet in that cell?
Because you don't need one.
Because gods don't pee or poop.
They don't?
Well, that was actually built for the Hulk.
There's not even a place
they don't sleep. They don't do
place
anything.
to sit down in that cell, is there?
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Well, sorry, Loki. You have to deal with it.
Even Hannibal Lecter had those amenities.
Chris, what were you saying about...
Well, this thing was originally built
for
the Hulk.
Yeah.
Correct.
So yes, your bathroom question would be even grosser.
Hulk just laying huge ass dinosaur shits.
Which to be fair, wow, you said dinosaur shits. To be fair, I'm not sure that thing would have even done anything for the Hulk. To be honest, I definitely don't. It wouldn't have killed him. He can't die. I mean, at least not from something like this. even dropping 30,000 feet. I don't think so.
But it could knock them out.
But
they don't know.
Yeah,
They were saying like it was built. This is like the best what we can do.
Right.
Maybe he just hits a button and it just opens up that airlock just 30,000 feet above the air and just like, goes through the hole. And then
But we saw in Lee's version, remember, Hulk would just like leap from state to state.
I enjoyed that. That was
enjoyed
more
that
correct
too.
Hulk in my opinion. But and I was gonna say I 100% agree with Chris. Love this scene. I remember seeing it for the first time, and then Black Widow just totally pulls a 180 when she looks so sad, and she's just a badass. She's like,
Yeah.
I got you. Like she just punked the God of Mischief. That is so cool.
But you learn a little bit about her backstory here too, which you didn't really know too much about.
That's true.
At this point,
You get the red on the ledger
Yeah.
discussion essentially. Yeah.
it's a good shot with the reflection of Loki.
Yeah. I think at this moment, like, everyone's ego. Oh,
Iris.
is this
Iris
number one?
detected.
I'm gonna get my sweet tea.
He's getting a sweet tea.
This is where they start discovering something is wrong.
The thing about
Oh.
being a team, there's a role for everyone to play. And now you're seeing Black Widow's role. You're seeing how instrumental she is at figuring out what Loki's plan is.
She's playing the victim.
You mewling Quim.
Mewling Quim.
Funny
That's
line.
great.
Tom Hiddleston spitting on the glass. That's great.
Tom
Yes.
Hiddleston.
It's real. It's
With
real.
his Shakespeare
Did
on
you see
us.
spit in the glass?
You can see some
I didn't even see
particles
that.
appear.
That's
yeah.
funny.
Boom. That's what she wants. That's what he wants.
Did you hear that little sound effect too? I love that they emphasize the emotional change with this little like noise.
What's the sound effect?
It was like a technologically organic kind of sound. I can't explain it.
Right.
Like that whiny atmosphere.
Yeah.
Rising?
Yeah.
The build up of like her breaking down, crying, and he just revealed that
Oh, they
he was
kinda
going
just
after the monster, and that's going after
That's tough.
Hulk.
Like, if you think about sound design is so important when it comes to movies.
Oh,
And a lot of the time, sound design gets no credit.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. The thing is, if it's great sound design, you're not thinking about it; you're just feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder how sound design happens. Is it different nowadays? I know back in the day, the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, like if you wanted to have the effect of a loud crash, you would take like some metal, sheet and like crash a hammer against it or something like. Like, are sound effects still designed kind of similarly, or is it different?
No, they do Foley.
They do
They do that.
Foley,
Oh,
but now they
okay.
can build. And
Oh yeah,
create
they still have
stuff.
a big Foley stage at like I saw it
See, I
at
think it's cool.
Warner Brothers has one, Sony has one. Yeah, a lot of the studios still do that. There are people
Nice.
that's just filled with all sorts of random objects, and yeah, they still do.
Interesting.
that.
Okay.
But why did they use that stock ass fucking punch in
Batman
Batman Begins?
And this,
Let it go, Martin. Let
I
it go.
can't let it go.
Let it go. We're on Avengers.
Just wondering if I bet the Wilhelm scream is in here somewhere.
It has
I
to
always
be.
catch that. That's a stock sound effect from like the 50s.
Yeah. It has to be a reason.
let's see.
Christopher Nolan wouldn't have
It's an
used
I don't know.
that Wilhelm scream's like, you're an editor, Chris. Like, that Wilhelm scream, like,
Oh,
it's...
I love the Wilhelm scream. I catch that every time. Yeah, it's so good. That was originally somebody from some movie in the 50s, I believe. Somebody getting like eaten by an alligator. He gets like pulled under in a swamp or something. I forget what movie it was from. I think that's what it was. And
Oh, man.
Ben Burt, during the original Star Wars, is the one who like found that in a sound effects library and used it, and then it became an inside joke from past 40 years.
So Thor just made that comment that what Shield's been doing with the advanced weaponry using the Tesseract, that he's saying that it's representing that Earth is ready for a higher form of war. And I remember hearing that for the first time and thinking, I wonder what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't find out till later in the movies,
Right.
but it was an interesting comment.
And think about, too, from a filmmaking perspective, like, how uneasy you are in this scene is because that camera keeps on moving.
Yeah. And you
Yeah.
go upside
Stop.
down. Everything's just
We're upside down on the Spectre now, which is stone.
Yeah.
And in that scene from what we were talking about before, the good guys and the bad guys, they find out that Shield's been hiding stuff because they want to make weapons because of what happened in Thor. So like we learn like we have to protect ourselves if something like this happens again.
Mm-hmm.
And so but because of all these secrets coming out, you learn that they're good guys and bad guys, but everyone has different like motives, and they're not technically bad guys. It's just
Right. Who are
some
you?
of
Thought Junkie number 2? That was good.
All right, so
Just trying to be like you. Just trying to be like you.
so Bruce is about to lose his shit as well as everyone else, and it's because of the Mind Stone inside the scepter. So we start to learn that it's affecting them.
Oh, the
I
Mind
love
Stone's
this scene.
affecting
It's like,
everyone.
yes.
Now I don't know if Loki
Genius
somehow managed to do
billionaire
that or if
playboy.
it naturally does that, but yeah.
This is when egos clash. I love this scene too.
Yeah.
But see, even conflict is needed in order to. We were talking about that earlier, Ryan. You need conflict in order to flush out and bring out resolutions, right?
Yeah.
Like this,
They get to know each other because of this conflict.
yeah.
Well, and this moment right here feels like it's kind of a prelude to Civil War, and also obviously
Yeah.
it's foreshadowing for what Tony's going to do at the end and do the sacrifice, because Tony Cap just said you're not the person to lay down when it's needed the most, and he does at the
Right.
end. So this was him challenging him, and he actually
Yeah,
holds up
that's
to it.
true.
So
That's
it's,
true.
it's cool knowing
Yeah.
that. But you
He's
see the
still-
tension between them too.
Right. Iron Man still finds a way to become the hero and the leader in this movie.
He does.
He
No
knows how-
way he would have known where that arrow would have hit.
He's Hawkman. He
They're like
knows.
30,000 feet in the air, and he just fires out and curves perfectly around the side of the ship. Unbelievable.
I
Unbelievable.
love what he's saying. Like, put on the suit. Let's
Okay.
go. Let's just take it to blows.
So
put
that
on the
hap-
suit.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump over you, Chris, but that they are being affected by that stone, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yes, it is definitely
Right, that's why they were arguing, and then it moves
Yeah,
in on the
okay.
scepter.
Yep.
It's affected. Not so much as it turns their eyes blue or whatever, like
Right.
Hawkeye and Selvig.
One of them makes the comment like, "Put down the scepter," because they can
Oh,
tell it's
yeah.
affecting them. I think it's
It's
almost.
right here.
I feel like
Yeah.
it's even
He doesn't
lighting
even
up a little
realize
bit
it.
more, but I can't tell for sure. But
This is so good.
you got like that's gonna matter. We have Nick Fury.
No, he doesn't
getting ready
reveal
to
that
pull his
till
gun.
he doesn't reveal that till after.
Put down the scepter.
Yeah, he doesn't even realize that he's being affected. But none of them are.
But just want to reiterate, Nick Fury begins to pull his gun as if that's
Yeah.
gonna do anything with the Hulk.
Can
Yeah.
we talk about Hulk's pants though? Like, how old are those pants? Like,
He's been living in
Yeah,
like
still in
India or
India,
something,
you know,
I don't know,
grunging it
he's not
out.
shopping in a while.
It's not like he's been to Sears or.
put on the suit.
Put on
We'll
the
find
suit.
out. This is great.
The squaw.
Put on the suit.
You
Oh,
gotta admit,
Hawkeye.
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 I think I said Hawkman earlier by accident. But
You know, we
did
didn't
say
know
Hawkeye.
him very well
Yeah.
at this point in the MCU either. Like,
Yeah,
you
we
know.
did.
But you gotta admit, that bow and arrow.
Our first
shit is
introduction to
pretty
him is a bad guy. So.
I had no idea
Yeah.
he was Ron from Kim Possible.
Wait, what?
You
I never
haven't
watched
seen-
Kim Possible.
You haven't
so-
seen the images of Ron,
No.
and Ron and Kim Possible next to each other look just like Black Widow and Hawkeye. I'll show it to you later.
I don't know.
Oh, a little bit of beer action. Are we at midpoint? Is it about midpoint? No, we're right over midpoint. So Hawkeye just they're attacking the what's that ship called?
It's the
Helicarrier?
Helicarrier, yes.
There you go.
And this is the first time they're kind of like working together as a team. They have to all work together as a team.
Yeah,
And
they're
Oh.
forced to work together as a team. It's great.
I always feel like the way ScarJo, Black Widow, was kind of positioned there, she was kind of sexualized a little bit.
Yeah.
Just the way she was laying down there. I don't know.
Well, she's always in the
Oh, it
tight
was
leather, you
definitely-
know.
I'm not sure that's
Everything
needed,
about
but it's blockbuster movie. I guess you're gonna
it
have
was
that kind of
needed,
stuff.
yeah. It's,
Right.
it's very full of testosterone. Guys will see it.
I
Yeah.
have to say,
Give them a
Scarlet,
glimpse of like,
Scarlet is sexy no matter what she does.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh,
Iron Man suit.
yeah.
So this is the first time we get to see Bruce turn into the Hulk.
Yeah.
Oh, is this that?
You're right.
This is
So-
the great.
Yeah.
So if you think about
The
how
money
long
shot.
it takes us to
Money
introduce
shot.
Thor, look how long it takes us to finally see the Hulk.
You're
I mean,
right.
Jesus.
They always hold off on this.
She-
Well, except Ultron, he's the Hulk right away, but
Yeah.
they usually.
Is she scared too?
She's scared, but she lets go of her ego for that moment and says, "Let me do this. Let me bring Hulk back down to who he
Yeah.
is."
She realizes she can't do it.
There
She's
we
like
go.
panicking.
Yeah.
They
I gotta
actually
get out of here.
Joss Whedon brought in Lou Ferrigno from the old TV series to help provide the voice also.
Oh,
And
really?
he did that up
I
through
didn't know
Ultron,
that.
but then
Wow.
Ultron was the last time they had Lou Ferrigno.
Really?
Oh,
Did not know that. Okay.
You get that brief moment where the Hulk is halfway through and he looks at Black Widow. He just can't control it. He can't do
Yeah.
it.
This is actually the first time the Hulk was performed by motion capture on set as well.
Oh, interesting.
Really?
By
Really?
the actor playing him, yeah.
It's just a lover's quarrel. That's all we're looking at, guys.
Yeah.
It's just all this.
Well, we don't know. They're not
yet.
romantically. Do we know that they're romantically?
No, they're not.
No,
Yeah,
no,
they kind of.
they
Well,
are.
no, they
Yeah.
just met each other. They're not.
Right.
We just met earlier
Exactly.
this morning.
Exactly.
Now we're fighting. And
Here it comes. It's coming.
She's usually in so much control. Oh, Loki's plan is coming to play. There it is.
that smile. Loki's smile is the greatest. In a normal film, this feels like the third act. This feels like
God, I
we're
wish he
ending.
could. I wish he could drop a motherfucker, and he almost does at the end of Infinity War, but
Mother.
put it on the left, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I wish. Oh, it'd be so good.
All right, guys, I'm going to give you some fun facts.
Let's do it.
Bruce Banner, 128 pounds. Incredible Hulk, 900 pounds.
Jeez,
Whoa, 900.
I thought matter can neither be created nor destroyed. Like, where does all that extra matter come from? He's breaking one of the basic laws of
Well,
physics.
and that's basic Hulk. That's when he gets, technically in the comics, he gets stronger the angrier he gets. At that point, he grows anywhere up to 1,040 to 1,400 pounds. So as he gets more savage, he actually gets stronger and heavier.
Wow, I never even would have thought of that.
Yeah, he's a strong dude. You don't want to mess with the Hulk.
He doesn't know what the hell this is.
What is this?
like,
It seems to run on
How
some
does-
form of technology. some more electricity, Captain America
how
says.
does he
The fish
doesn't know
out
what
of
a
water.
circuit board looks like, probably.
And then Iron Man's like, technically you're right. It doesn't run on electricity.
so good.
So much comedic levity with Captain America and Tony.
Yeah, and the great thing about it, Captain doesn't
comes,
even know
here
he's
comes.
funny.
Here comes the money shot.
Yes.
What's
This
the money
is
shot?
the trailer shot right
Yeah,
here. This
it's
is
trailer shot.
slow motion of Hulk chasing
Jesus.
Black Widow. Look at this. This shot is
So
so
good.
good.
It is.
So good.
Oh, man.
Oh, that shot's amazing.
Why does he hit her like that, though? Wouldn't you just tackle her?
Get out of the way.
I mean, at this point, I think he's fighting with himself. That's the Hulk.
Thank
Right.
God Thor got here
Oh,
in time.
Thor, I forgot
This-
about this
oh,
fight.
this is good.
And
This is
everyone
good
wanted
fight.
to see this fight. People were talking about wanting to see this fight when this movie came out.
So he clearly holds his own later in the movie.
Didn't know
So
what's
this
gonna
one he kind of
happen.
gets manhandled a little bit.
And then
Look how good he looks. Like, Hulk looks great. That looks like Banner, too.
It does.
Yeah.
5 years later, we get these guys in a buddy comedy together, set on another planet. It's great.
Yeah,
So
this was the only Hulk where they really obviously Lou Ferrigno, because that's who he was. But
Yeah.
but in the movie wise, this was like the first time like you really feel like you see Bruce in Hulk. And the other ones
Yeah.
you can tell he's different. The Hulk.
Well, as the movies have kind of progressed too, they've
CGI.
the CG has improved, so you get more of like Mark Ruffalo's face and performance.
Well,
in
I'll
there.
say this.
Right.
I'll say this because I will say in the Ang Lee one,
Yeah.
I did see there was a bunch of there was a bunch of those.
Do you
moments.
feel like you saw Eric Bana or Bruce?
I
in the
did,
movie?
yeah.
Really?
Oh,
Okay,
I did.
interesting.
You know, I would say this. There was one shot where there was this close up on him when he was like about to cry or something.
Yeah, I was
like
going
that.
to say, he
It
looks
was
really
really,
sad,
it
right?
was really emotional.
Gotcha.
That's the one time.
Interesting.
But
So what is that why that didn't work? Because Hulk shouldn't be emotional, right? I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know that character.
well, I mean, I think that didn't work because
Not the
Ang Lee
early-
was probably not the best
Hammer.
director for it.
No.
yeah.
That's what I believe.
No, Hulk is a rampaging beast in every sense of
Yeah.
the phrase. In his early, phase in the Marvel Marvel comics, he doesn't become unique and different until much later on. So
Apparently, this is the first ever appearance of Hulk in comics, TV, movies, whatever, where like he has chest hair. When he's
Oh really? Oh, does it?
Really?
Like,
That's
there's a
kinda
little bit of
comparable
chest hair
to-
in there, which is
Oh, this is like
comparable to bat nipples, right?
nobody
Yeah.
can pick it up.
Although it's very subtle. It's subtle,
It is subtle.
but
I forgot how this
it's not
fight
like he has
ends.
like Burt Reynolds' chest, like when he turns, chest hair when he turns into the Hulk. But
Yeah, I love the scene where Hulk was trying to pick up Mjolnir. I don't know. I can never tell if I'm pronouncing it correctly. It's such a
Oh,
weird
yeah.
word.
Majolin,
But he can't do it. He cannot do it.
Ooh, see, Samuel Jackson gets some action in here.
He does, man. He's badass. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, this was Maria Hill.
Yeah, she's badass.
Everyone remember who first
More
played?
like Maria Kill. Ow!
Maria Kill. Uh-oh.
Does everyone remember who first played Nick Fury in the? I think it was in the '80s. Remember the
Did
actor?
we say it was Hasselhoff?
It was
Yeah, David
Hasselhoff.
Hasselhoff.
Or it
David
might have been
Hasselhoff,
even
yes.
early '90s. I'm not sure, but
I think it was late 80s, early 90s.
yeah, I can't quite put Hasselhoff at the level of Nick Fury from the fighting skill and everything else. So yeah, shit's hitting the fan now, man. I mean, they're definitely in trouble. Iron Man's trying to do his thing. I mean, it's
I don't know what it is
crazy.
about seeing strong female characters. Maybe it's because I raised by a single mom, but seeing strong female characters in film and cinema, dude, it's so cool.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
And it was really Thor. I mean, it was really Marvel that I think took the reins on that to start out.
Thor's getting hemmed up.
So Hulk's just getting shot at. And
I feel like this is a callback to the Ang Lee version.
Yeah.
Him fighting stealth fighter jets.
You need to get out of there.
Oh my god.
The bullets are hitting his skin and they just bounce off. I mean, that's
Right.
Now they
crazy.
ordered him to shoot at the Hulk. They must have known this pilot's screwed.
Sacrifice yourself.
No,
for the country.
they knew he had an ejector seat, right?
Does he eject? Does he
Oh,
get-
no,
he can.
no, he
Oh,
does.
they
They
show him
catch
eject,
it.
so
It's
he
messed
doesn't-
up, yeah.
Oh,
That's dirty.
Oh, wow. Oh my god. Okay, no, he's fine. They showed the parachute
No.
come on. He's okay.
No, he's not fine.
He's okay.
Yeah, he's okay, yeah.
I always wonder
That's right,
why
he was okay,
why Iron Man lets the laser thing be a one-off. Like, I feel like you should have like 10 of those ready to go. Those like laser thing through his hands are awesome. I would not make those a one-off, but they're efficient.
Is this the first time Captain fights humans?
I love that jump and the little whoosh, knocks the grenade
It's
out of the way.
In this movie, you're
In
saying?
this movie,
or-
right? This is the first time
First time he what?
fights humans.
Well,
kills the human.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he just
maybe.
killed that. He just killed that man.
He did.
Unless he had a
He's
parachute.
probably killing
movie.
Nazis.
He-
Well, no, he's
good.
killed people. He's a warfare.
In this
soldier.
movie, I should
Oh, in
say.
this movie.
Yeah.
That guy might have had a parachute, by the way.
I mean, he's shooting a gun. Captain America's no Batman.
Right. You mean Batman's more patriotic? No, that's
Batman's.
yeah.
For the record, Batman did use guns early on in the comics. People
Yeah.
Oh, look at
remember
that. It's like an arrow with built-in like USB.
Did he make it in the USB port? We
Pretty
can't even
much.
make it in the USB port right the first time. I would have to flip it over.
and he shoots it into it.
It goes the wrong way. The arrow has to rotate to get the USB in the other way. Nobody ever gets that the first time.
No.
You never get that the
That's
first
Sitwell.
time.
Sitwell's working hard.
Oh, kill that guy. He's Hydra. He's Hydra.
And she's all scared.
Yeah, you don't see Black
Wow.
Widow scared too often. Once in a while.
Wow.
Now, so they started
She's awesome.
romantic relationships. Do you think any part of that is she's like just curious? Do you think they ever like, I don't know, get intimate while he's in Hulk form?
I don't
maybe
think
she's
that's
into that.
physically
Maybe
possible.
she's into
I
that.
don't think
though.
that's real.
Hey,
Who knows?
you know, so
Maybe,
I guess if it's in the Hulk, you might as well get the
it's
benefits,
more
right?
than just his muscles that grow. I'm just saying, you know.
I really don't know if there's any benefit there, though. That's the problem.
Okay,
Just
so
saying.
does that moment, that's the first time we've seen any true emotion from Romanoff, right?
She's
Is that-
genuinely
yeah.
scared.
Some
right there,
real
yeah.
raw emotion, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that what makes her like Hulk? Or is that what makes her like Bruce?
I don't know if it's that as much as I feel like it's what makes us, the audience, realize that she's capable of maybe showing more emotion,
Yeah.
which then leads to her eventually. But as far as the character goes, I don't know. Maybe. I'm not sure if that really had a lot to do with it.
Now that the Hulk's off the plane, Thor tried to stop Loki, which
Didn't go too well.
yeah.
Oh, this fight. This is great.
Yeah,
Wait,
it's
do
a
they
special fight.
know each other at this point,
Oh
right?
yeah, no,
Oh,
they know
yeah.
they know each other they've known each other for a long time.
But we don't know they know
Agents.
each other.
Yeah, we did.
Really?
Yeah,
At this
no.
moment?
There's a scene. The reason she like breaks off her scene, breaks off her interrogation in the first scene is because they say he's been compromised. So she's like, "Oh, Barton's compromised.
Yeah.
All right, put me on hold."
Oh, right.
And if you recall, I believe one of the scenes on the video screens when
Yeah.
Tony first gets that thing of seeing who the potential other Avengers, I think it was them fighting in a previous war-torn
Right.
country.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the whole point
Black
of
Widow
that
and
shot. Yeah.
It's
Hawkeye.
a pretty well-designed prison cell if the hammer can't even break
Seriously.
Well, no. The thing is
Impressive.
if you put too much pressure on it, it'll drop.
through.
Oh,
But
yeah.
still,
So
he
that's
does
why.
hit it once.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think that
Well,
the
that's why
hammer
it
would have
shook.
broke it right away.
It should have broken right away. Yeah.
But
Right.
still, yeah.
Oh, this
Coulson.
scene. This scene.
is great.
It's a sad scene, but
I don't know what it does. Coulson's so good. You know, Clark Gregg was like a kind of a
Oh.
comedic actor before this too.
Why
this
is
was
Thor-
sad.
Why does Thor
Do you
care
know-
so much?
Do you know the way they shot this? It really burst through his chest more violently, and they had to go to the MPAA 3 times to make
Really?
this movie. It was originally rated R 3 times because it was too violent.
Really?
The way that shot
Oh.
through his chest,
Mm.
and they had to alter it to make this
sucks.
PG-13.
And to answer your question, I think it's because whereas Loki makes that comment earlier where he's, a god who would step on human as their ant, I think Thor is the opposite. He's just
What?
a caring
Well, you
Caring
learn,
God who cares
you
about
learn.
people.
You learn in Thor 1 that he finds people on Earth.
Yeah.
He
he generally cares about him.
Yeah,
he wants
just
him to
cares
be
about Earthlings. They call.
You know,
They say,
in
"Oh, you
society.
care about your pets," but he actually cares about.
Yeah.
life.
Or what do they call planet Earth in Asgardia? I forget what.
Asgard?
Terra. What? Yeah.
Is it
What
Terra?
do they call it? No, that's
That's something else.
Guardians of the
That's
Galaxy. They
something.
call it
Yeah.
Terra.
All right, so Black Widow just won the fight, put Hawkeye right into a metal pipe or some kind, and somehow that gets him out of his,
Right.
just being kind of warped in his mind and controlled
Damn.
in the final
Yeah.
match.
She
I mean,
punches
because
so
of Mind
hard-
Stone.
She punches so hard it overrides an Infinity Stone.
Right.
I
never thought about that.
Yeah,
But
Black
technically
Widow
it's
is
a
the
Mind
secret.
Stone.
She can override Infinity Stones with her
Good.
pure strength. That's how powerful the female
You know,
character
she
is.
still
This
she
is
has
such
a
a good
purpose,
bit.
right?
Such a good bit.
Might as well be able to break.
Chris,
the glass.
since you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., does that remind you that thing ejecting from the helicarrier dropping down? Remember was the first or second season when Fitz and Simmons get
That's
dropped in
right.
that thing and they're at
Yeah,
the bottom of the ocean
Yes,
and they're going to die? And
Actually,
that's when
that does
Fitz
remind
gets
me
the
about
brain
that.
damage from like the lack of oxygen. It kind of reminded me of that, yeah, in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
So anyone remember what this gun was kind of based off of? What does it look familiar to?
the gun.
Looks like a Men in Black kind of thing.
Nope.
No?
There-
Terminator?
Nope.
Chris?
Predator?
It's from Thor #1.
Oh,
Ooh.
the
those-
huge metal giant thing.
Oh,
yeah.
I think it was called
Oh,
the Gladiator or something, but
Coulson's
you,
last.
it has the same
fact.
feel with the metal things, the way they shift just like his body did,
Right.
and it has that burst of like heat blast that
That's
he was
right.
in.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
you
you
can
mean-
tell they used that to base that gun off of. Which is
Oh,
interesting.
wow.
They were really taking technology from other universes and stuff to
So you
build
mean
it.
that same thing that was in The Day the Earth Stood Still?
Oh
This
yeah,
isn't-
okay,
okay.
Klaatu or whatever.
This is insane right here. Look how fast Tony's going around to get this. Look at this. How fast he's going
Oh,
around to
that's
get
cool.
this propeller spinning.
He is going really fast.
How do you get out of
Insane, the
that?
centrifugal. I
Well,
don't
that's
know.
the problem. You're
You
about
go-
to find out.
Dude, I almost blacked out doing that centrifugal force on Goliath at freaking Magic Mountain.
But they
It's like,
say
slow it
he
down.
gets out because Captain America
Right.
finally managed
How
to
does
slow
he
it down.
hold
just
on?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
It's like slow.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
dude.
That's how he gets out.
Uh-oh.
He's supposed to slow it down a little bit so he could get out, but he didn't do it.
Finally.
So Captain just saved Iron Man's life,
A little too late, but
pretty much.
Yeah, it's all right. The Iron Man suit's pretty indestructible.
And then head. There you go.
Dude, this was like a 15, 16-minute action sequence. Holy crap.
Well, everyone with the Avengers, you gotta give everyone a chance to fight in that sequence.
Right.
So
There's been so many
it
actions.
was multiple
Battle
action
of New York
sequences
yet.
in one.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
What you say, Chris? Sorry.
There was multiple action sequences in one. That's
Yeah, that's true.
Coulson. This was really sad at the time, but then knowing that now we've gotten like 6 seasons more with this character is great. For those of us who watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
The only issue I find with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is like if he didn't die in this thing, they could actually bring a bunch
Well,
of people
my,
back. Because they try to keep him a secret. Like him being alive and S.H.I.E.L.D. is supposed to be a secret to the actual.
It is. That's
in the
kind of the
movies,
sad thing. Like
which
they all
sucks.
rally after his death here, and now it's been 6 years in the MCU, and none of them know he's alive. Fury
Yeah.
knows. I think Fury,
Right.
because Fury's popped up in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And
But they keep it a secret. But
they do,
it's
but it's like I know obviously Coulson is popping up in the upcoming Captain Marvel because it's a prequel, takes place in the 90s.
Correct.
But it's like,
No, you're right. Now.
does it
Sorry.
seem fair that the Avengers will
It's
never
not.
find out that their friend Coulson has been alive this whole time for like 6 years? But you could not. I don't think they can bring him back into the MCU
Well-
now because there's been too much backstory, too much to
Yeah.
explain that people who haven't watched the show would have to be caught up on in the movie universe. You know?
exactly.
So,
No, Josh Whedon actually said in an interview that he's Coulson's alive on TV, but as far as the movies version, he's dead.
But it's too bad because they're all so bummed out here. They're all like,
Yeah.
it really
brings
is
them
a
together.
rallying point. Yeah.
This is their first casualty that they felt, right?
Yes. Yes.
Just imagine how many more casualties they feel. They feel horrible for Sokovia, right?
This is the first.
This
Yeah.
is the first one.
Oh, here's his.
This is what drives them.
He picks it up. It's like covered in blood. He
Shut
just
the-
like grabs it. Would you grab the bloodiest card off? I guess it's got his own
He's
picture
got
on it.
himself
But
on it.
That's not one.
But okay, so
lost my one good. Yeah, we're
they've
gonna
known
see him
Coulson
before.
for what, 10 minutes though?
No,
I mean,
Tony's known him.
Tony
since-
and Cap have known him.
Tony's
Who
known
else?
him for a while.
I guess Romanoff has known him.
Yeah. Well, no, they.
But she's
known
not even
him.
in this
Thor
scene.
hasn't.
Well,
Thor
Thor's
has it.
not here.
Right.
Tony
Well,
feels bad because obviously.
What I love about this scene is this is the first of, I don't know about many, but several great motivational speeches
Right.
from Nick Fury. Like,
Yeah.
you cannot go wrong with Nick Fury giving motivational speeches. He's
Well,
just-
don't we learn? We
Yeah.
do learn. We don't learn that Coulson survived, obviously, but don't we learn that he motivated them with the cards and
Yes,
stuff?
Yeah, it was
That's
false
lied
motivation.
It was motivation,
But he
yes.
does
That's
what
like
he
the cards
does.
in
Right,
Captain.
but Fury knows they're throwing him into the Tahiti program. This is all stuff you learn in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that revived him. He gets the Kree blood, whatever they do to help
Yeah.
revive him and everything. And yeah,
Nick does what he's got to do to get the job done. That's
Right.
what he got. That's what he's
Yeah.
great at. Even if it's lying, because he's a secret agent spy.
But why do we accept that though? You know what I mean?
Well, what?
Why do we accept the lying, and why do we? That's what I was talking about earlier. When you see something from a different perspective,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, if
Well, yeah, that's like he's lying. That's a bad thing to do, but he's doing it for a good reason. So he's a bad guy. He's a good guy sometimes.
because they just got their asses kicked, so you need
Yeah.
like a little bit motivation here.
right?
And they've been fighting already, so you need to bring them together somehow.
But like, it's just crazy because we know that Nick Fury has some dastardly shit that he's trying to do out of fear in order to protect our world, but still, it just doesn't sit well with me. I don't know why.
Sitwell, Jasper Sitwell.
This is
Here's a little cameo from Harry Dean Stanton, best known from
It was an interesting.
the
cameo.
original Alien, or is it Aliens?
No,
He just died last year, actually.
Did he?
Yeah. He's a secret
Well,
agent.
it was John Hurt in Alien, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I think
who
he's
chest-
Aliens
yeah, I think you might be right.
I didn't know that was John Hurt.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh man,
in the first one.
one of my
Yeah.
favorite.
He's the one that
actors.
gets the chest popper out. Yeah.
My girlfriend hasn't seen that movie. I can't wait to show her. Cannot wait.
Buck ass dude. Yeah.
So, like, if
Great
he was an
humor
alien,
involved.
he's seen some shit, so that's why he doesn't really. He's not surprised by Bruce Banner.
No, he's not surprised by a green, massive animal beast who's naked.
so. This guy has seen Hulk's penis.
He does.
Yes, he
they
has.
they make a
Hulk
point.
penis.
He makes a point to say, "Yeah, you crashed down. I saw you're nice and green and naked." He gives him some pants and says, "Hey, I don't think this would fit you until you shrunk down to a regular size." Mm-hmm.
Stop. So the way they're shooting Hawkeye, kind of getting out of the mind control aspect, I thought that was really cool. The way they used those kind of very quick special editing effects of the different light colors and everything. I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you
Oh,
find
yeah.
that to be an interesting choice?
To me, I
He's
felt
like-
it's
he's like
kind of
tripping.
interesting because at first I thought it was a dream sequence.
Uh-huh.
There's some kind of dream flashback from the last scene, but then when it comes out of it, then I did like it because it's kind of like this psychedelic mind trip that he's coming out of.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That was,
No, Harry Dean Stanton
Right.
was in the first Alien. He was one of the crew members.
he was. Okay.
Yeah.
But it was John Hurt that had the chest bumper.
Yes.
Right, okay.
and this is the
Yes.
scene you realize that they've known each other for
Bless
a
you.
while. Bless you. Like this is the first time you see them actually interacting, but you can tell they've known each other.
Excuse me, movie update. Martin just sneezed. Just want everyone to know.
I pulled away from the microphone. though.
Chris and I said, God bless you.
Not planned. Not planned.
Not planned.
Chad didn't do shit.
Nothing.
Focused here. Focused here.
He's focused. Chad's focused. Sorry.
I can't believe you haven't seen the meme with Kim Possible and
I'm
what's his
not
face?
familiar with Kim Possible at all.
Did you not have a childhood?
Didn't that show start when I was like 15 or something? I don't know. I feel
Don't
like I
judge
was,
me.
Who gives a shit?
I was watching Kim Possible well into his 20s.
So I don't know about you guys, but I'm very happy to get Hawkeye back into the mix here. I just think it feels good to have him into it.
I mean, at this point, I'm like, all right, well, I guess we get to see who he is for real, but
Yeah.
we haven't met him really.
Look at Hawkeye's arms though. That's Thor level. I don't know if you saw that or not.
So just all the dudes are jacked.
apparently everybody is Thor level here to you guys. Once again, he outweighs everybody by like 60 pounds. But sure, they're all Thor level.
So I do want to know what the background of these two. Like,
Well, they fought for S.H.I.E.L.D. for many years.
Right.
That's pretty much it. They fought, secret missions, probably killed people that they didn't maybe want to, but they didn't have a choice.
They're both
but
shield agents.
Shield is the good guys, but yet
Well,
they
in
feel
quotations.
so much remorse and pain and like suffering from their past based upon what they've done. It's like I
Well,
I bet you that's not any different than what a Vietnam veteran might be going through.
Yeah, I think you could probably. I mean, they've been in many wars,
Yeah,
and battles. So.
PTSD, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's an element of that.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to pretty much like to make up for her sins.
Yeah. So here we have Tony brooding like Batman.
This one Nick's fairy plan works. They go to talk with each other.
Yeah. Oh yeah, get that beer.
There it
Coulson
is.
brings.
Get that beer.
Had to do it
Is that
close
really
to the mic.
necessary? Yes, Coulson brings them together. Nick Fury's plan works out.
God, his muscles even show through the shirt.
He's for Captain America. It does.
Sometimes there isn't a way out.
He's upset.
You're seeing,
about
a
Coulson
little bit
losing
of the early stages of their
Civil War.
conflict, which really obviously comes to a head about 4 years after this.
You get that in various phases throughout this movie, and you really
Yeah.
do have to wonder, was that intentional? I mean, I have to believe it probably was.
You
You
might
know,
know.
yeah,
When was
definitely.
the Civil War comic storyline? What year do you know about? It was obviously before all this.
that was relatively modern. It was pretty new, actually, in the last 10 years. So,
But I mean, do you think it was before they knew they were maybe going to be heading that way by the time they made this movie in 2012? Because you knew they had differing perspectives on things.
yeah, no, it's a good
This
question.
is interesting because this is like
Yeah, Civil
this
War
is
didn't come to
Tony's actually realizing that Loki's trying to break up the team.
Yeah.
He knows they need to break him up, so his plan later on will work. He's realizing this.
Yeah.
He doesn't realize this in Civil War, but we'll talk about that during Civil War.
Yeah.
He doesn't realize they're trying to break him up in Civil War, but it's kind of like that's what Loki was trying to do in this one, is break them up. But they weren't together yet, so...
Right.
So just to recap, Loki's plan is to use that microwave emitter to turn all the water in New York City into steam. And oh, wrong movie. Sorry, wrong movie.
Oh, now you pick up the hammer? What were you
That's
doing?
a badass silhouette, low-angle shot of
He was
him
waiting.
picking
He was
up
waiting for everyone else.
picking up the
He was
hammer.
waiting.
Yeah.
Here we go. The heroes coming to action, repairing the Iron Man armor. Yes.
What kind of welding iron was he using in that scene? Because
I don't know
that
enough
armor
about
was hit
welding.
by the Thor's
I don't
hammer,
know.
and it didn't dent. But he can manipulate it with this powerful, this powerful
I
welding
think
iron.
the lesson learned here is we need to warp our perception of what's doable and not doable in the Marvel Universe. So yeah, now Nick's telling Agent Hill exactly what he was doing.
Yeah.
That blood is fake.
Ketchup, and he licks his
Fingers.
fingers.
I'm just
Yeah.
picturing him licking his fingers now. It's
Where
kind
did
of naughty.
you see a flashback of Coulson taking the cards, like wiping them on Coulson, Fury wiping them on Coulson's dead body to get the blood on him. That's cold, Nick. That's cold.
Right.
That's cool, Dick. I love how his suit's barely working.
Oh yeah. Oh no, and it's great for this scene because he has to get a new suit
Mm-hmm.
when he goes back to Stark Tower, which kind of
How-
just builds that whole tension, which you're going to see in the scene with Loki.
Yeah. How amped were you guys for this movie? Ryan, I know you were... This is the most anticipated film of your life,
I was
right?
excited.
You have no idea, man. Everything.
I do. I was there.
I know you have
I
an
saw
idea,
it.
man.
But like, think about it. The MCU just kind of keeps getting better and better. It's awesome after 20 movies, you know.
Right.
Yes.
We brought this up a little bit later. I didn't tell you guys. Like, I think Marvel does so well at like anticipating and knowing and how to capture our attention and keep it. I think that's why Avengers worked so well, because we were waiting for this film. Then we were and then the second one didn't do so well because there was no anticipation there, I don't think. But the third one we were waiting for
For Thanos.
right?
Forever, yeah. So
Well, I mean, I think the
And
second one has
we
some
were excited
bad-
because
worse
everybody
word than
loves
that,
the
too.
Guardians of the Galaxy, and now they were going to get Guardians of the Galaxy weren't in Age of Ultron, and we knew we were going to get the Guardians of the Galaxy mixed in with everybody too, and I think that
I
really
think
helped.
that's like 15% of people, of nerds.
No,
Could be a lot more.
After, yeah.
You know, I don't like my sci-fi unless it's rooted in space.
okay.
Unless it's rooted in Earth.
I don't like.
No, this
I
is
don't like
great.
to leave Earth. I think that's what you said.
You
get scared. You get scared. When
There
you
was
leave
a little
Earth.
bit. There was a little bit of a religious almost reference I want to say there. He calls the scepter the stick of destiny. I'm pretty sure. Is that not a biblical
Sword of
reference?
Destiny?
No, this
Spear of Destiny.
Yeah,
From
isn't
Constantine.
Constantine, right? Yeah, I thought that's
right.
kind of funny. A little bit of a reference to
Wow,
like a
what
biblical
DC
event.
throwback.
That's what we call ourselves. Earth's mightiest heroes.
And this is Tony Stark's contribution. One of his contributions to the team. He's trying to make this conversation while his suit gets fixed up.
He's stalling him.
Yes, and Loki's actually interested in what he's saying.
Yeah. Everyone has
This
a role.
keeps him alive. This keeps him alive right now.
Right. Because he could die right now. There's so many times Tony Stark should be dead.
Yeah.
He should have died so many times in Infinity War.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have a Hulk.
We have a Hulk.
Yeah.
Yes. No.
There's no version of this where you come out on top. That's a
But
bold
this is-
move.
this
From a
ego.
version, we
This is
get
ego.
into that possible futures.
Yeah,
As soon as
and
Doctor
Infinity
Strange comes
War,
into
huh?
it in a few years.
Right. Is anybody,
Foreshadowing.
is anybody watching Krypton?
I have not.
No.
The first few episodes,
Oh, this is great right here. He
Oh,
tries to
that's
take
great.
him over.
It's pretty funny.
he
got
tries
some
to
heart.
take him over, but
Remember
he hits the...
his comment, performance issues?
1 out of 5.
1 out of 5.
Kinda
He realizes it's over. He needs that suit right now.
Yeah. Well, luckily he put the thing
Deploy.
on. Like that, I would think
Let's
there'd
get
be
this
some
thing.
blood,
Is this one of the
scratches
first
on his
times
face.
we see a suit kind of fly out and catch up to him?
Yes.
Oh, is that Iron Man 2?
Iron
Okay,
Man 2.
see, yeah.
No,
I love this
No,
technology.
I think this is the first time we get
I
this.
do
I don't
too.
know.
No, Iron Man 2 is when like he like the suit, the pieces are flying, they get stuck in a.
I love the suits that catch up to him in midair, like in
the Mirage.
Infinity War, like the Iron Spider
Yeah.
just like catches up to Spider-Man, like it just fires out.
No, I think this was the first time
Maybe
we've
it
seen
was,
that
because
suit.
we didn't know. That's a big reveal. You're like, whoa, I didn't know that.
But what were you talking about, Chris?
Oh well, no, Iron Man 2 where the pieces get stuck in the garage.
Was that in
Yeah.
Iron Man
Yeah.
2? Okay.
Yeah, so he's like,
Oh,
he's
yeah. But not a full suit, though, right?
It was a full suit, but it was the pieces they were all separate, and all the pieces were flying
Towards him.
together. Yeah.
This is why
So it wasn't like
I
that.
had to
but
watch
the-
these in order.
Right.
Yeah. That's all.
Oh, the Chitauri.
But if you're watching this, know that there's a theme to Season 1 of Cape Seat Free. It's all of the first installments of all these different films.
Common origins. Yes.
Now, this is like Tony's first experience with like space stuff.
Yes.
He's not aware of any of it. I mean, they know, okay, at this point they've met Thor and they know about Asgard and stuff. But
Well, yeah,
he
but he
hasn't
wasn't
seen
there.
any of that with his own eyes, really.
Exactly.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, Thor's the only kind of space stuff. This is before Guardians of the Galaxy. It's before we really know much about Thanos. And
And the
look
thing
at
is,
these
Thor's
practical-
thing happened.
this is Michael Bay level explosions. Look
Yeah.
at this. This is
Oh, yeah.
Michael Bay
Michael Bay
level
level
cars
slow
blowing up.
motion.
Oh, the car.
Michael Bay's level slow
camera
motion.
mounted on the car. This is
Right.
great. I love it. Well, this was a year after Dark of the Moon, so they.
Oh, yeah. This felt very Dark of the Moonish.
It did. These really crane shots of all the cars blowing up.
Coming from space and attacking the city.
Well, this is the lady. She's a waitress. She had a bunch of scenes cut out.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. But she was actually kind of like this character that's supposed to see Captain America.
Well, she gets
as a hero,
interviewed on
a
the
regular
newsletter,
person.
doesn't she? Or
Yeah.
was that
Yeah, no, she gets interviewed in the newsletter. She gets saved by Captain America.
Mhm.
But she actually has a scene that's cut out and deleted scenes where she actually serves Captain America when he Steve Rogers and kind of sets her up that they know each other.
Mm.
So,
Should I announce or?
So we don't, there have been rumors, we're recording this in July 2018, so we have, we have like 10 more months till we get the next Avengers movie. But there's been rumors, set videos and photos of them recreating the Battle of New York
Interesting.
with their old like capsuled uniform and stuff. So that there's
Interesting.
questions of the time travel, alternate dimensions.
Oh, wow.
So we may be seeing parts of this battle again, maybe from a different perspective or something
that'll be
when it
crazy
comes to
talk.
Avengers 4 next year. So we'll see.
Interesting.
We'll see.
That would be very unique if they decided to do that. Yeah.
Let's see in that. It could be. I mean, since we're going to Captain Marvel as a prequel, all that stuff could play in too. We'll see what happens.
Paul Bettany again as Jarvis. 3 years before we actually he takes on the physical role as as Vision.
This was such a great battle scene. Just everything.
I also love how this is like a defining moment in the MCU. They always reference, what happened in New York. Like, the MCU as where we are now, they talk about New York. They talk about Sokovia. They talk about Washington, D.C. And you know what movies, what battle, those are pivotal battles in the actual world history of the MCU.
Well, you even get it in the Netflix TV shows. They even reference themselves.
Oh, they do, yeah. Agents of
S.H.I.E.L.D.
also, they mention a lot.
And Jessica Jones and Daredevil, we get mentions of it in those
They reference it all the time,
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's just crazy. For 20 movies, they talk about what happened in New York, and you know exactly what they're talking. You know what I mean? It's like, which movie had a battle in New York? It's like, no, they kept it so like this is the one you remember. This is the big one.
So the most recent movie we all saw was Avengers 3. Kind of going back to the original and seeing Captain America once again in his very kind of childish, very noble, innocent. Where as in by Avengers 3, he's dark and he's kind of a wanderer, a loner. Which one do you like more? You like the darker Captain America or the more lighthearted
Good question. I like the darker Captain
I like
America.
the mix of both.
Martin,
doesn't this long thing remind you? This kind of reminds you of the thing in Transformers.
I like the middle Captain America.
It's very similar.
Right. This one looks a little cooler.
Yeah, they're looking at this like.
But I like the Transformers. You see the
this?
moving parts. That's what's cool about it. It's like a mechanical.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what I'd be thinking if I was an office worker while at Chitauri Warriors.
So I just want to say something too while we're in New York with these. So this was actually the first MCU movie not shot in the 2:31, 2:35 to 1 anamorphic aspect ratio.
Oh no! Okay.
This was actually shot in 1:85 to 1 because Seamus McGarvey, the DP, because he's framing up all these characters standing together and some of them are taller than others. You have Black Widow gets really tall people like Hemsworth and Chris Evans and it just he needed the verticality of the frame. And he said also when you get to New York here, you have these tall buildings, you have the characters standing on these tall buildings. When you do anamorphic, you really cut off a lot of your verticality. And so that's one of the reasons he's like, normally you shoot an epic movie like this in anamorphic. We had talked about this during Batman Begins. I love that widescreen anamorphic look, which is great, but they just felt with all the buildings and everything, the verticality of it in the city, that 1:85 to 1 would be better for it. And this is actually the last MCU movie that shot any part of it on 35mm. It was mostly digital, I think. They used... RE digital cameras for some of this, but for some of the here's the Michael Bay shot of all the exploding cars. They shot some slow motion stuff with 35mm.
So Loki just stuck that little knife thingy into Thor, and I don't know about you guys, but I remember when I originally saw that, I kind of thought I wonder if that was a hint towards getting Thor's blood or something later on, because he just tosses it aside, and the camera kind of does a quick close up on him tossing it. But they never did. Little things like that. You always got to wonder, is that going to lead to something like a random knife with Thor's blood just thrown into the somewhere? But,
actually, and some of this stuff does.
Captain America hero shot, awesome.
Like all this stuff with the cleanup, it comes back to Spider-Man later on.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Where
all
this stuff comes back to Spider-Man.
It's amazing.
And you want to know something? If you ever watching
they're still helping people.
The Netflix ones, Luke Cage, the weapons they start to use Luke Cage in the first season are technically from this alien attack.
I did not know that.
To use against Luke Cage. And then when Spider-Man comes out, you realize there was actually weapons dealers that were dealing these weapons.
Interesting.
Which kind of came back and
it all ties in. It all ties in. It's crazy.
No, they did a great job. Great job, Kevin Feige.
This is a funny scene where the police kind of chief or whatever.
That's Kevin Feige. No. Is that? No, it's not.
No, that's not. Yeah.
No, it looks
I've
like
seen that.
That cop looks like Kevin Feige.
I've seen that.
No. He's older. Yeah. But this is funny because Captain America gets challenged by this cop and he's like beats the hell out of a couple of Chitauri and he's like, let's listen to him. It's a pretty comedic scene.
Yeah, I love this scene.
It's a very New York thing to say. Why should I take orders from you?
It's a great moment.
Yeah,
and then he just turns around and repeats the order. It's so good.
Yeah.
This is why.
I mean, if you're going to see him take out 3 of those guys just like that, you're probably going to.
That's so good. Apparently, there was a deleted scene that they may have filmed too. I don't know. Maybe it's in the deleted scenes on the Blu-ray. I'm not sure, but where Captain America helps like an elderly man during this battle, and he's like, "Cap, is that you?" Like he remembers him from back in the 40s.
That would have made
and
me
I wish
cry.
I know. And he's like. Yeah, or something like that, and he sees he's got like a veteran's hat on, like he notices that he's a World War II veteran, and Cap like salutes him, and like yeah, that would have been a great moment. So I don't know if that's something they actually filmed, but like I wish that would have been a great moment to have in the movie. I wish they, what's the difference if it's like a 20-second scene? Just keep it in, like that's so good.
Well, does 20 seconds, even that little, not mean a lot to a movie? Like, can that make or break?
I don't know. Not something that small, yeah. But I love, I said,
it's more of the pacing. Though.
Like I've said through a lot of these movies, I love the Captain America stuff, like referencing how long he's been around and like his friendship with Bucky. Every time he mentions like we're 100 years old, pal, and stuff like that. I love that stuff because there's so much history, and he goes way back. He's he's a piece of another time,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Great moment. We get Hulk back now. Love it.
As Tony Stark predicted.
Yes, as Tony Stark
predicted. Wait, is this the this is the big moment? It's the big moment coming up too. This is the biggest Hulk moment. When he talks about his secret.
Oh shit.
Well, this is the first time he controls becoming the Hulk. Whereas
I love this. I'm bringing the party to you.
This is so good.
Scarlett Johansson's line.
Yeah, Black Widow.
I had a coworker at Paramount at the time who said like tears, like a single tear went down his face, like at this line, like it was so good. He like tears of joy.
When
it's the best.
When Hulk says his line about being angry.
That's my secret.
I'm always angry.
It's the best.
I'm always.
I'm always.
Oh yeah,
he turns into
oh yeah.
I'm
always angry.
Love it. And just
until Infinity War.
That massive thing. One punch in the face, and he topples it over. It's crazy. That's so strong.
Yeah. Where was Bruce during the Battle of Chicago in Dark of the Moon? Here comes the theme. You got the Sylvester's Avengers theme coming through.
Is this the shot? Is this the money shot?
This is the money
shot coming up.
Yep.
Here it is.
Here's the money shot.
Oh, circular
my God. I feel like a little kid again.
Did we get this shot in the trailers at all?
Yes.
Or no?
Oh,
it's
in the marketing. You have to.
Yeah. I think that was shot for the trailer.
I get, with the 1:5 aspect ratio, it would have been a little too cramped, I feel like, trying to do a shot like that in Anamorphic.
Right.
With the buildings framed behind them.
Oh.
It works.
We got a couple.
We
got a couple more Hulks.
We need.
So, of course, you got Cap, now officially the leader of the group, giving all the directions, telling everyone what to do.
He's the only one with, real... I guess Hawkeye's been in some military and...
Well, yeah.
Not as a leader,
he's been through, boot camp with, I guess he was... But he's been exposed to all that.
Yeah, but Cap ran brigades and, full armies almost,
that's the thing.
He fought the Nazis, all right? Nobody else fought the Nazis.
No one was lying on the Nazis.
Smash.
Hulk, smash. Hulk, smile.
That's awesome.
Well, I said before about his
Hulk
character.
accidentally jumps all the way to New Jersey. Hulk, we need you to go one block. We need you not stay over.
The Ang Lee Hulk would have went too far. Yeah,
accident overshoots
it. Oh man, and then Thor's hair in this just cracks me up. It's very disheveled, but I like it.
Oh, bring in the storm.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking about how awesome Stormbreaker is in Infinity War right now, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Summoning the lightning.
Yeah.
What does that do?
Okay, Hulk, while he's grabbing... he's on the Chrysler Building. He's not on the Empire State Building, I think, but he's on the Empire State Building. He should have the line, King Kong ain't got nothing on me.
Right.
Hanging off the... But again... Hulk, as Thor stated earlier in this movie, he does not get the pop culture references because he's not from Earth.
Right.
So I don't get that reference.
So So they're really they're working together really great by now. Like they're really becoming a team.
Look at that, not even looking.
Not even
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye is
communicating.
It's
That's timing.
That's not
timing.
even possible. That's not. No matter how trained you are on a bow and arrow, you cannot
There's
shoot without
aliens.
even looking.
There's aliens coming from another dimension, and you worried about Hawkeye not looking
I
as
know.
he shoots?
right, exactly.
Okay, maybe they're smart arrows. They might have some
Smart
tracking
arrows.
technology.
It's called
They
a
got
sixth
USB
sense.
sticks built in. All right, that know which way to face when they.
It's
plug
called
in.
a sixth
It's a
sense. He's
smart
got
arrow.
it. Hawkeye has a sixth sense.
This is
He can sense them.
good timing.
Okay, now why is it, Martin? Maybe you can answer this one. Why is it that they're destroying half the city, but we don't care about the civilian casualties? But that was a huge point of contention when Man of Steel came out, and half of Metropolis got destroyed.
Yeah.
Because it's one man versus one man. Well,
Right.
I guess there's a small group of people.
And this is them doing their best to fight off an entire invading army, where that was just two guys just blowing through every building possible.
Yeah,
like they can't help that this giant alien thing is flying through, and
it was very personal, man.
Well, here's the thing. I haven't watched Man of Steel in 5 years. We'll get to that, I'm sure, in a future podcast. But
Scheduled this season,
here there are shots of them helping people out.
No,
They're helping people escape and evacuate. Do you get any of that? Superman's not pausing
Maybe
from his
once or
his
twice,
shot
right?
of Zod helping
a little
people
bit,
get
and
out,
you'll
but-
notice there's really no shots of anyone dying. You don't anything that blows up near someone or gets shot at, even in a tight space like inside of the buildings. None of those blasts hit anybody, so they don't show anyone dying. Really,
Right.
It's
Whereas
just-
in Man of Steel, they do.
They do.
Not showing anybody dying, but they show people like inside the Denny's. And,
yeah,
This is great. I
Like
love when they
significant
use the
others are back.
shield as,
Yeah.
as
it's
a
just
boost.
it's just
He gets a
implied.
boost.
You know,
And then
there's
he has
probably
to
gonna be
fight
some
all these
deaths.
people.
Right, but nobody. I feel like that wasn't a point of discussion after this
Right.
movie came out.
I guess
No, I
it's
agree.
Superman's
Man of
one
S-
person, and
Right.
he's Superman. Like,
right.
he's the closest thing we have to God.
Man of Steel, they had to go out of their way in the sequels to say like, oh, he's landing on an uninhabited island. Like they had to say that in Batman versus Superman, so people wouldn't complain about
well,
it.
I mean, the
again.
difference is this is alien invasion that they're defending off. Well, that was two guys fighting each other.
Yeah, that's an invasion
And
versus
so people-
4 people, right?
This is a great shot too. Now, Martin, isn't that the
Oh,
same
yeah,
building
no.
that
And
appears
this is when they use that. Oh,
in the background?
Oh, you're right. The
It's
same.
in New York. It's
the
like
same,
is it a
the
terminal
same-
or something, whatever that is. Yeah, it's a famous
Face.
building, but that's the same bridge in I Am Legend for sure.
Right. Oh,
They're
I can't watch
so
that scene,
fluid.
man.
They're so
Legend.
fluid now. That's what I love about it.
It's so it hurts.
and this is all one shot right here. I mean, it's technically digital, but
It's great.
it's
Right.
all in
One
one
digital
shot.
shot.
All,
It's great.
Of all Avengers back and forth
It's,
and teaming up.
it's so badass. Look at Thor
Yeah.
and Hulk just like knocking out.
Because it started out on the ground.
Yeah.
So good.
Iron Man flew on the Captain America, helped him out, and took off.
Oh,
Just changed. It was
man.
all one
Anyone
shot.
notice where this is? Same as Man of
Armageddon?
Steel.
Man of Steel?
Well, that's the same place.
Right,
that,
you're
I'm pretty
right,
sure it's the
yeah.
same place that he was when he was
Yeah,
fighting
looks like it.
Zod.
Well, Man of Steel
Metropolis
was supposed
has-
to be in
this
Metropolis.
is
They may
great.
have used real. Here we go.
I'm just saying
This is
there's
the
a
upset
clear
from the fight.
comparison almost.
Right,
What's
right,
the same?
Yeah. Is he still evil?
No, he's good now.
He's good now?
The blast let him lose his.
Oh, his eyes
Yeah.
are green now, not blue.
Yeah.
He's like, what the
These
heck?
Infinity Stones have some odd limitations.
Well, no, I think because it's a mind stone. Technically,
Yeah.
scientifically, it affects the mind. So if you unconsciously knock out the mind, you can reset your mind like a computer.
Right.
I just made that up so it sounds real, and that's what that's say. That's writing a sci-fi movie. So
Really holding on this reflection. That's great.
I should say a fantasy movie.
So it looks like they're about to blow them all up.
And this is when he
Lovely cast
saves a
coming
whole
up.
bunch of people. This is kind of like your aspect of like, oh, do they care about the civilians?
Here they.
Oh, we see people now, right?
And that's our waitress from before I was telling you about. She's down there too. Because
This is
the
like-
whole point of them ripping off his mask is that they're going to see him as a person at the end of the scene.
Right. Humanize him.
Yeah. Boom.
Oh, man.
Like, can Captain America not even get like cuts where he bleeds, or
Is
how
he
does-
been stabbed
I-
ever?
I mean, he
He's
does
cut-
get a little.
That's,
Yeah, I mean,
that's a blemish right there.
a little bit.
I mean, he's not Wolverine, but he heals all right.
He can take a
Yeah,
bullet.
she is. She's like, oh,
there's the
there she is.
waitress.
Yeah, see? And the Caesar cut out. She served him. So that's why.
It's almost
she
like a
knew-
Bay
she knew his
shot,
real
like spinning
face.
around somebody
Yeah.
in slow motion.
Bay's faster, though.
Yeah, right.
This is too
At
fast.
lower angle,
Lower angle, right?
too. Yeah. Gideon Malik again, who you don't know his name in this movie, but
Wasn't he in...
Well, he's been in a lot of things.
He's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
he's
he's
yeah.
a famous
Me
actor.
and V for Vendetta.
No, he was not in that. Because he's not British.
So he ends up being Hydra as well.
Right.
Find out, so
She's just navigating.
there's
this,
Reindeer
like,
Games. Reindeer Games is back.
I think that's the first time we hear him call her Nat.
Right.
Pretty sure.
This whole time, I'm feeling so scared for all the humans.
Well,
The
Right,
human
'cause
heroes.
they don't have
right.
superpowers.
It's like, boom.
Yeah.
Even though he's on target, hey.
Oh,
I love that. It's such a great boom.
Catches the
Ah.
oh, smart
Hey.
arrow.
All right, here comes the best
Smart
scene.
arrows.
Here comes the best scene.
Smart
Get
arrow.
ready.
It's the eye arrow.
So this scene, this is where I think everyone
Yes.
agrees they love this.
Can
when
we
Hulk
talk
goes
about
after
how
Loki.
This is the
how
best
Loki
scene.
landed and flipped his hair back?
Yeah.
Natalie Portman or Natalie
There we
Portman.
go. This is a cheer when you're seeing this opening weekend in the
Yeah,
theater.
yeah.
This is a huge cheer moment.
Yes.
Boom! Everybody's just like going nuts in the
Oh,
theater
I
during this
remember
moment.
He does
It's
this
like,
heavy
what
lifting.
the hell?
Him just
The face of him.
puny god.
He's just,
It's great.
It's
Just
like,
laying
what?
there in
Just can't
shock.
move.
Just like
PTSD,
it's
man.
great. It's great. It's like what just happened.
I'm so impressed with the ability to give every single one of our heroes screen time. And enough screen time to where we feel like no one is bigger than the other person.
That's actually pretty impressive that Joss was able to do that, to be honest.
Oh, same with
Nobody's
what the
a feat.
Russos did. Like you had even more characters to balance by the time you get
True.
to Infinity War,
Right.
and they still managed to pull that off too.
I mean, I think everyone was pretty saying by the time it was Infinity War, 67 characters. I don't think anyone
It's
had faith that
insane.
they would probably be.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
not just the main
They pulled
heroes,
it
but you
off.
had so many supporting characters that
Yep.
came into that one too, from all the different franchises.
It's pretty impressive.
Oh, here now buildings are starting to come down, Transformers style.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
building-
Just think about
There you go.
how much the Academy loved Crash back in like 06, 05
Mhm.
because of how it weaved in all of those stories. Now imagine doing what Crash did,
Right.
throwing action on top of it.
Right. This was nominated for Best Visual Effects. Actually, several of the Marvel movies have been nominated for visual effects and stuff. Nothing has won, but this was nominated. This actually lost to Life of Pi, which was a great
okay.
movie as well.
Special effects wise, though.
Ang Lee's Life of
Okay.
Pi, who directed Hulk. It
Yeah.
all ties together. Oh, out of arrows. See, that's the downside of arrows.
This is what makes him a real
They take up a
man.
lot more room
He
than
actually
bullets.
still he's got one arrow left. He finds it
Oh,
inside
well,
the
he got
Jakari
one arrow. He
corner.
finds one arrow left.
And
make
what's
that
nice is
one
he can
arrow count.
transform it into something else. Yeah.
It's like, you're not superhuman. What are you doing? Why are you jumping off the edge? Isn't he concerned about where he's? Okay, he's got. Okay, never mind.
Come on, you gotta remember
See?
that scene. You knew what he was
He's got the
doing.
rope arrow. He's got the USB arrow. He's got the
USB
explosive arrow. It's great.
He technically
I love
has
it.
the,
I love
the utility
It's fantastic.
One
One for every
arrow case.
purpose.
The utility
Every
arrow
purpose.
case. Yeah.
The USB arrow.
the USB arrow is the best.
Oh, see. Yeah. Now this TARDIS getting
Doesn't
up.
look good.
Hulk,
There's
you're
actually a
done
lot of
now.
Doesn't
aliens.
look good
though.
for the heroes at this moment. Oh,
Alright.
Ares no longer in command.
Yeah, this is when they override and just drop a bomb. When we were talking about the nuclear option,
Nuclear
but
option.
previously, this has become the nuclear option.
Nuclear.
Let's go to.
And I like how Nick Fury actually tries to take him out, and they fool him
Make
too.
another reference.
Well, if he would have had one more rocket launcher, on him, he might have
Okay.
made up to
Does
that.
anybody not look cool firing a rocket launcher? But I
No.
mean, like
No.
Samuel L. Jackson, that was pretty badass.
Obviously, they couldn't have made that whole thing explode because that would have turned him into a villain.
Right.
Right, he's not trying to kill the pilot. He's trying to disable. Yeah, like that. No, you're not going to shoot down the jet with a handgun.
Well, I think Nick Fury could have done it, but
He probably could.
Right,
Hey,
maybe.
Hawkeye would probably have a jet
Yeah.
disabling. He probably has like an EMP arrow.
Yeah.
Take that.
No,
That's
I'm
an
sure he
autopilot
does.
arrow.
Autopilot arrow.
So I don't remember Tony bleeding after getting thrown through the glass, but now he's bleeding. So
Inside the suit.
Yeah.
I've noticed in various movies he
Bumps
looks
his
hurt
head.
inside the suit, even though he's in the suit.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
right.
Well,
Well,
they
probably
have
get, like,
most of the time he gets
skulls
hurt
getting
beforehand.
jostled
I
around in there.
guess.
Maybe I don't know.
I just don't buy it. But
Maybe
yeah,
he
it's
didn't
possible.
pad it enough in the
Well,
future.
no,
He adds more
he
padding
got it.
along the forehead or something.
You know, they're adding he got injured before he got into the suit. That's what it is.
It must have been.
That was a speed ramp up, slow motion to fast motion as they get the shield and the hammer back.
This is called fatigue.
This is when you don't think when it doesn't look good for the heroes. Oh
yeah.
But then you remember Thor has Mjolnir. Mjolnir. Yeah, Cap can take a punch. He can take a hit. He takes an energy blast and he keeps on kicking. So he's impressive.
There's so much going on in this movie.
Yeah. You're going to notice, look at Black Widow's face when she finally stops it. She makes a very weird facial expression that I'll never forget. But just watch out for it. You'll see.
All right, I guess we're looking at Black Widow.
I can't explain.
Do the actors actually wear little earpieces inside so you can see them in some shots? Because they're communicating with each other, but you never see anything in their ears.
Yeah.
So it must be really microscopic.
It could be in their ears. It could be anywhere. Yeah, it's not to say for sure. I know, just...
You know what I'm happy that we don't see here? I'm happy we don't see Pepper calling.
Because why would Pepper call?
Well, like in Infinity War, when he goes to space and she's like, "You need to come back right now."
Come back, Tony.
He calls her.
You forgot that.
Okay.
Wait, did he call her? Did she call her?
He called her. He called her.
Okay, so at least because he doesn't. Tony thinks he's sacrificing himself. He doesn't know he's going to come back.
Right.
Yeah.
Where the other one, by this point, they've been through so much shit. Like he's like, okay, like she's trying to call him. He's like, I got to take care of this. He doesn't know he's going to come back.
Right.
He's never
Pepper,
dealt with the space aliens. This is new for him at this point. And he's handling a nuke as well. Like, that doesn't look good.
It's kind of badass.
That doesn't look good. He doesn't have Spider-Man.
The Hulk was bleeding?
I thought
the Hulk was bleeding, just so you guys know. He had a bloody nose.
He did.
That's
interesting. I never noticed that.
Did you think Tony was going to die at this point?
I did.
I don't know.
I did not, obviously, because it was the
I
first
did.
Avengers movie, but
you work in the industry, they're going to kill off Robert Downey Jr.
Killing off Robert Downey Jr.
They didn't finish their trilogy yet. There's no Iron Man 3 yet.
I got lost in the moment, guys.
Oh, this looks...
Pepper was there. Call failed.
Oh, no.
He's dead.
Because he's dead.
See, it's like he wanted to talk to her at this point where the other movie's like, gotta go, busy. By the time Infinity War comes around, he's like...
That's the throwback when he sacrificed himself.
Where here he wanted to say bye.
Yeah. They killed the mothership.
He threw himself on the grenade that Captain America didn't think he would do.
Yep.
That's right. Great payoff.
Yeah.
Good job, film school dropout.
Hey. I paid attention to some classes. They,
Look at that. It's a side shot from inside the mask. You don't normally get that.
We never saw that. That's right.
No.
Not even a side. That's a 3/4 shot.
All right,
That's
guys,
a 3/4 close.
get ready for it. Just watch Black Widow. You'll see.
All right, we're looking for Black Widow's face.
Watch for Black Widow's face. You'll see what it is. I just distinctly remember a weird facial expression. Hold on. Yeah, right there.
Right there.
Right there.
That was.
She's struggling. It's probably a lot of power that she's trying to...
It's a very unique facial expression. I'm sorry.
It's weird.
It just makes it out.
That's her face. That's
barely makes it out.
How old is Peter? Peter Parker's what, like a couple, like 6 or 7 during this, so he's not going to swing it.
What, this
No.
Oh, now he's like 10. He's like 10.
Right.
12.
He's not.
I love it when he winds up the hammer. It's great. Oh,
he's gonna go get
Bruce
him.
Banner to the rescue.
Hulk handles it.
Nice.
But I love that he was just like nonchalant, just throws him off. I'm like, it's like he's a.
Get off me, puny human. Well, that was a roller coaster ride.
Yeah. So they're checking on their.
He just ripped his
fellow-
face off.
Yeah, Thor just rips that off, no problem.
Yeah.
You don't need that.
It's the arc reactor.
I mean,
Take him out of the suit, give him mouth to mouth or something. He doesn't like watch him die. And they're just like, hey, he's dead.
Wendy Peppercorn him. Something.
Pepper gonna call back?
So I didn't realize that Hulk had super breath where he could make someone come back to life. Apparently he
It's probably
does.
so heinous.
No, that's called bad breath.
It's called
That's called bad breath. It's like, oh my god.
Does the trick.
Please tell me I didn't get Wendy Peppercorns.
They did it.
All that
Avengers
PTSD.
won.
Yay.
It makes sense that...
Let's not come in tomorrow. This is improv. This is improv, and this led to the credit scene, which we'll talk about. We'll get to that. When
See, I'd like to see the different takes that they did and stuff like that. Like, I'd like to see like what else. Maybe it's in the gag reel. I don't know, but maybe there's like other fun things.
This one right after.
Has Loki just been laying there in the on the
He got
crushed in the floor,
destroyed by Hulk.
just like with a shocked look on his face this entire time? It's been like 10 minutes.
Worse? Hit Loki's or Iron Man's?
Oh, Iron Man's by far. Yeah, he struggles much.
Got him.
There we go.
Look how dark he looks back there.
Yeah, that's a great
cool.
cut of the heroes too.
Yeah.
It was.
Backlit,
I
low
think I'll take
angle,
that drink now.
Mm-hmm.
arrow right in your face. That's the specific Loki disabling arrow. Guy's got little labels on all of them. How does he know which one? How does he know which one he's using? He's not going to fire the USB arrow at Loki.
That's crazy. This is like now we get if we would have gotten this earlier on in the film, I think we would have felt a little bit more.
The guy's getting his face shaved like Tony Stark. I don't ever notice that.
He's getting his
tattoos. That's great.
We might have felt a little bit more for society, I think, and for people and like the peril they were in.
There's
Stan cameo.
Playing. If we would have seen this earlier, but they decided not to show this until the climax, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So we don't really care about the other humans at this point.
People are grateful that they saved the world, yeah.
Tony Stark with that silver suit.
They did like 2 days of filming in New York City for this. Here's the waitress a little more.
Oh, where have I seen her before?
She's
been in a bunch of
been in like some
things,
Nickelodeon stuff.
Yeah, I know I've seen her and stuff.
She was in the Killing as well. Thank you. I would want to say.
Wow, I didn't realize the Security Council. You don't see their faces at all. Do you not see their faces till Winter Soldier?
Nope, I don't think you do.
They're all like backlit in this.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of makes them a little menacing. Interestingly.
Wait, where does this go?
What?
Who takes the Tesseract?
Oh, Thor by far. Yeah, Thor. He takes it back.
Right, they take it back to Asgard. Yeah.
And that's where eventually
Loki takes it
after Thor Ragnarok and then gives it to Thanos. Well,
so
intentionally.
Thanos would have came for that wherever it was. Thanos would have came. I was thinking if he wouldn't have taken it, maybe Thanos wouldn't have killed everyone on that ship. But
he didn't kill everyone on the ship.
Well,
remember, Thanos only kills half of everything he does.
Well, no.
And they mentioned
the first scene
when
he destroys the ship.
Well, we don't know yet.
Wait,
we don't know if Korg or Meek.
Oh no! They all definitely got away. It's mentioned.
Right, and
there's no doubt
Tessa Thompson's character.
Yeah, I'm sure that she got away too. They're not going to kill her off without showing it.
They're good. They're great characters. They'll be.
They got to have an explanation because.
But yeah, Thanos and everything he does 50% halfway. That's how he destroys.
Well, no, but when he destroyed that ship,
the opening of the film.
Yeah.
Remember, they were escaping Asgard.
Right, yeah.
So he killed half the people? I thought everyone was dead.
No,
he destroyed
half
that
got
ship.
away. Yeah, half got away apparently. Because they mention that in Avengers Infinity War. They say, at some point they say you killed half my people or something. Like I think Thor...
Well, no, that's what he usually does.
You're talking about the Avengers will come back if another situation pops up.
Yeah, I don't believe all the people that were dead on the ground in that ship was everyone in the ship. I do not, because you don't see, at least... Korg and Meek and Tessa Thompson.
Well, you don't see them at all, but there is a shot. Apparently, someone dressed like
the guy still
Valkyrie,
playing Galaga in the background.
Tessa Thompson,
yeah,
but it's not. Well, no, I don't think you can't do it that way. But there is a shot that way.
Mm. I just know she'll be back in something else.
Great, love the theme, love the Avengers theme.
Where you going?
Oh,
this
wait
is
to the
where,
credits.
This
is
right
where they're retrofitting
Jesus.
Stark Tower to fit.
And after all that destruction, they knocked off a whole bunch of letters.
Right. I know. This is
the
A for Avengers.
A for Avengers.
Hey.
Here we go.
How ironic that the A stays there for him.
Yeah. The rest of Stark was destroyed.
It's pretty great. Yeah, that's the last shot. There we go.
Here comes the post-scene credits.
Yeah. Awesome.
And this is where we get our first ever Thanos.
It's true.
First look.
This is kind of cool, too. You get a little highlight of each of the characters and close-up of detail from each character.
So the first appearance of Thanos was in Iron Man 55 in the 1970s. It was actually the first appearance of Drax the Destroyer as well. He's much more powerful in the comics. They really humanized Drax, made him a little weaker in the movies. But
really? Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, they appeared together for the first time.
So we just saw Jon Favreau as a producer. He had the opportunity to direct this movie, but he declined and decided to stay on as a producer. He's actually produced all the Avengers movies still going.
I feel like Favreau would have done a good job.
I think Favreau bowed just because he's probably working on something else at the time too.
Yeah.
But the thing is that he was the lead director, so he could have directed anything after.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Anything
he's
potential.
still doing good.
The,
I'm kind of
but no,
surprised he didn't do more after kind of killing it.
Well, because he
with
wanted to do
Iron Man.
other movies. That's why.
Right.
That's why he's.
Well, he
able
did
to-
Chef, which was a great
Well, he
movie.
did Chef. He did the
Jungle Book.
The
Chef
Jungle
was the
Book.
fuck
Now he's
you.
doing Lion King. He's
Jungle
doing
Book,
the
yeah.
Star Wars television series
Yeah.
coming up. He's got a lot on his plate.
He just wanted to do other stuff. That's why.
Look at the close-ups of each of their like details as you see the actors, like Hawkeye's arrow selecting device.
Yeah, seen this house? Yeah.
There's so much going on in this
Like
movie. Like my boss at some point said, it feels like a damn video game when I'm watching a video game. This is like a 51-year-old man. So he hated this because it felt like a video game, but then he loves like Game of Thrones.
Well,
But
yeah,
this is too
sometimes-
magical.
Well, it depends. If you have a story with characters you care about, you don't think about the CGI as much. At least I don't. Like some movies, it's annoying, and it's like it's overdone, doesn't work. But like obviously, you have to in movies like this. But it's because you love the characters and everything so much, it works.
Yeah.
There we go. Here's our mid-credit sequence.
Ryan, you were so amped about this.
Oh.
I remember after you saw
You have
this,
no
we
idea.
had no idea who Thanos was.
Isn't this almost
And-
the best part of any Marvel movie?
What,
Yeah.
post-credit
When
I'd
you're
scenes?
like,
say
what am I
best
going to see
part.
next? What am I going to
Yeah,
get
it's
teased
exciting.
about?
Yeah,
How
sometimes
much-
it doesn't meet the expectations.
How much research did you do after this, Ryan? I remember you came back knowing everything about Thanos after this.
It actually took me a little longer
So
than you would
Thanos
think, but-
doesn't speak because Josh Brolin hadn't been cast yet. He
Correct.
just-
We get a smile. A very menacing smile, though.
I thought it was cute.
I agree.
So now you get this. You really get the sense there's a higher power at play.
Yeah.
There we go.
He's so much more, I feel like,
Yeah. So
purple
me
here.
not knowing
Yeah, he's way more
comics, obviously a lot of these end credit sequences I have to immediately go online and read about because I'm like, I don't know who that is.
Which
I have
everyone
no
does.
clue. You know?
Right, because you've never seen X-Men.
No.
I told you.
Is he gonna have
Every
Thanos
podcast.
and X-Men?
No, just saying. You didn't watch cartoons and
Okay, so
stuff.
that's not going to help me know who Thor
Well,
is.
I don't
even
even
if I
know
the
watch
cartoons.
X-Men
Yeah, the
series.
cartoons would though.
All right,
Cartoons
whatever.
would have, yeah.
Which
You didn't watch
cartoons?
A lot of the Avengers cartoons featured Thanos a lot, as
Alright.
well as, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I told you
movies.
every podcast I'm going to mention you did not watch
Okay,
X-Men
all
as a
right,
kid.
all right. You can mention it every time. You can mention it every single time.
Does anyone know who's singing this for the credit scenes?
Yeah, this is rare. How many Marvel movies have like an actual song in the
I just
end
realized
credits?
that.
That's
Sounds
interesting.
familiar.
It's like a
Okay,
rock
I guess
song.
Oh, we'll have to
That's
see
it.
at the end of see another reason to stay through the credits. You
Oh,
can see
good
who
point.
sang the
Good
songs.
point,
Right.
I'm sure we'll get it'll
Yeah.
transition into
See.
more Alan Silvestri music.
Who did the end credit scene song for Spider-Man #1? Who's
Hero. The song was called
Toby,
Hero.
the
Who was
Tobey
the band?
Maguire
Saliva
No.
and Chad Kroger.
Was it that, or the maybe #2?
one? Wow.
Was it
No, it was a lead singer from Saliva,
okay?
and then the lead singer from
I felt like it sounded
what's
similar.
the Asian? Not the Asian. The Canadian.
You went from
band?
Asian to Canadian.
Asian to Canadian.
Can
I
go
don't know
get
how
sick.
that happened. But what's the
Don't
Canadian
ask me.
band that everyone loves to hate?
Hoobastank?
No,
Because I hate Hoobastank.
the lead singer
I
looks like
don't
Shaggy
know.
from Scooby Doo.
Creed?
No,
They all look like Shaggy.
I have no
Scooby-Doo.
idea what you're talking about.
Well, while you're thinking of
I'm
that,
gonna go
let's
onto my
talk a little bit
pocket
about.
phone.
We got to talk a little bit about the box office impact of this movie.
Oh wow!
When this movie came out, this was the first movie to ever gross over $200 million in an opening weekend. No movie
Yes.
had ever done that before. This gross, I think it was about $207 million. This beat, the previous record was Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, I think, which made about 168, I think, which at the time beat
What?
The Dark Knight.
What did this gross overall? Did it do over?
Oh, it's got
1.5 million?
over 600 million.
No, domestic
Yeah.
and foreign though.
Oh, this was the first Marvel movie to cross $1 billion.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
well
yeah.
over $1 billion. But so at the time, this beat the previous opening weekend record by like $40 million.
Damn.
And so,
Yeah. It's
but
met
since then,
expectations.
it's been the opening weekend record has been this has been beaten 3 times by Jurassic World, Force Awakens, and then Infinity War have beaten the record since.
Oh, wow.
But it's still the 4th highest grossing opening weekend of all time.
Yeah.
And at the time this came out, so this was 6 years ago, 2012, this was the 3rd highest grossing movie of all time by the
Yeah.
time it ended its run. Only behind the 2
Jurassic-
James Cameron movies.
Yeah,
No, it's
Avatar,
only behind
Avatar,
Titanic and
Avatar,
Avatar.
yeah.
Wow.
And now this has been passed by a lot of things since, including Force Awakens and
Black Panther.
Black Panther.
Yeah.
and everything, and a few others, I believe.
Infinity War.
Yeah, so this was huge. This was
Did
big when this
Infinity
came out.
War pass Titanic? Or I think it did domestically, but did it overall pass Titanic?
No,
right with time?
not yet.
Okay.
No, I don't believe so.
Wow, so those
Oh, you
two
mean
movies, man, you
overall,
can't beat
yeah.
them.
Black Panther's made more than Infinity War. At this point.
Yeah.
Really?
That's
Black
awesome.
Panther right now is like $40,000 short of being at 700,000.
Is this
It's like at
700 million?
690.
Yeah.
What?
You mean 700
Sorry, 700 million. It's like
Okay.
at 699, like 960 or something, and it's still in like it's like 6 months after it's come out almost. It's still in like 150 theaters right now.
Wow.
I think
didn't
Marvel's
realize
just
that.
keeping it out there, just like
Milking it
so
as much as-
close
Yeah,
to getting to
it's
700 million,
so-
which only a handful
Go
of
see
movies have
it.
ever gotten to. You know,
No.
I don't know who would actually still go. You could just like
I go watch it right
rent
now.
but
Well,
you
yeah,
know.
I mean, you can rent it now, so.
Yeah.
Ryan, to answer your question, the song was Hero. Chad Kroeger was from Nickelback.
That's what it was.
Nickelback.
So
This kinda sounds
Saliva's
like a
lead
little bit to
singer,
me. Okay.
Nickelback's lead singer, Hero.
Interesting.
This song sounds like an early 2000s song, whatever we're
Yeah,
listening
that's
to
what I'm
during
saying.
that. That's like 2012.
I'm just
I don't
curious
know, whatever
who's
we're
band
listening
is
to
Very
right
old
now.
school.
No.
This is very unlike the MCU now. The
I don't
MCU
ever
now
remember
does
it
not
playing
put like
It's
pop
like theme
songs
music. It's like theme music, yeah.
Well, they're Disney
in the
now.
credits.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe.
Samsung. This is still Paramount.
Maybe.
This is the first one distributed by Disney. After this,
Maybe.
it was Disney from the beginning.
Maybe.
Here we go.
Disney
Now we're going to like
just distributed this. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Because
Well, here we go. Now we're back into the Alan Silvestri score, which
Right.
is great.
As soon as the visual effects gets on screen.
I'm just waiting
a
for
lot of
the
visual effects companies.
shawarma scene. We're gonna get
Oh,
that
yeah, yeah.
post credit.
No, this apparently because this is one of the first films that like Kevin Feige wanted to when he started producing the MCU, he wanted to like integrate these stories like comic books. He used to read comic books all the time. He wanted to integrate them, and this is like the first compilation of like all these stories coming into one movie. And obviously, it worked.
So I mean,
Favorite movie, it worked perfectly. I
Just
think.
going back to that Thanos shot, I had no idea how big Thanos was going to, just how big he would become, and we
I
have,
know.
Oh, yeah,
we really
well,
have to wait 6 years for the
It
payoff
feels-
of that.
Feels longer than that.
It does.
It does, right? Because there's so many movies in between there, but like you see the little hints in the final, do
Well,
it myself, the
The
little
thing is-
things here and there.
Yeah, and it's
like,
funny because like
really
that's
6
the thing. It's like
years.
when you watch this movie after you know the Thanos, after you see Infinity War, it's like, yo, why didn't he just go do it right now?
I
Yeah.
Why
love
he just
that.
grab those stones himself?
I
Right.
love that. I love
What?
the long game. I love that. Oh, here's the song. So what do we perform by Soundgarden? Soundgarden,
maybe.
I think.
Yeah, I think when I first saw Thanos teased at the end of this, I really thought that was going to lead up to Avengers 2. I had no expectation. I had no way of thinking that was going to not be him for Avengers 2. I was
Yeah.
What's the
really
only Thanos?
surprised.
Is the Thanos shot in Ultron the final? Do it myself. Is that the end?
Correct,
credits,
yep,
or-
that's when
so
we-
still just a little tease.
Little tease, yep.
And then wow, it's just the
They
long,
were
it's the
very
long
smart.
game. I love it. You
I
get the
know.
little hints of something going on in the background. Here comes
They
the.
could've
I'm sorry,
brought
it's
that
not,
to
it's not. Is that the end of
Here we go.
Ultron? Is it the end of Ultron? Is it?
Here
Yeah,
we go.
yeah, I
Here's the
believe it's at the end of
shawarma.
Ultron.
This
Chris-
scene was shot after
After the world
way
premiere,
after.
it's like
Yes.
like a few weeks before the movie got released.
Captain America
This
had
is
a
on
beard.
location?
Captain America had a goatee
Yes,
and beard for a
we'll
different
talk about
movie.
that in a moment.
That's why he's hiding it.
He had grown a beard for Snowpiercer,
Yeah.
and so they had to,
Interesting.
and he shaved his head, so that's a wig. That's why he's not talking or eating.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's why he has his hand
Now-
covered his face.
Now, I was talking to Martin about this. This is an actual restaurant on Pico Boulevard near Pico and Beverly in Los Angeles. I think we should take a capeseat-free field trip, get some actual shawarma
Yeah, I'm
there, and we
Doing
need
it.
to recreate that shot in the actual
I
restaurant.
like
since
that.
we are in Los Angeles.
We're
That
doing
is not a set. That is an actual restaurant.
That
in
looks
Los
like a
Angeles.
set.
It's
No,
not. It's an actual
right.
restaurant in Los Angeles.
And
Yeah.
that, my friends, is the end of
That
Avengers.
that's the Avengers. The
Right.
the conclusion of Phase 1 of the MCU.
Phase
Yeah.
1.
Great.
Not our conclusion, but the
Great.
conclusion.
Correct.
of
Thank you,
the-
Chris.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying at the time, yeah, in linear MCU fashion.
Oh,
So good. Good stuff, guys. Any parting words, Martin?
That was. Whew. What time did we start this?
I don't know.
Let's
But
just say-
it's any time.
Really
It's
doesn't
any time that
matter.
you guys.
It
minutes.
doesn't matter. You
That you
went
guys
with us
stayed
for
with
the
us.
journey. You hopefully learned some things. You were hopefully entertained. You got to rewatch a kick-ass movie that you love.
Yeah, and if you weren't entertained, just listen to the whole thing again.
yeah.
You're good.
Hope you enjoyed
Yeah.
the background, the knowledge, the history, and everything behind the characters.
Yeah, guys.
so.
Definitely.
Remember to like, subscribe,
Share.
share. Definitely share.
Yeah, share. I
Spread
learned
the
that
word.
kindergarten.
Can they comment? Do we
Share.
get
You
some
can
comments?
comment.
Oh no, definitely comment.
You can
Definitely
comment.
comment.
Yeah, if you have any questions, let us know.
thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
If you would like updates on the bathroom breaks, feel free to let us know because I will update you on Martin's bathroom breaks.
We will live stream bathroom breaks.
Yeah, we're gonna live stream bathroom breaks.
Hey, I tell him you save those for the credits.
I've had a few beers. I have not moved from this spot in the 2.5 hours.
You know, I told Martin pre-movie. I said 12 to 3, and you know what, people? He did 3 today.
3,
So.
12 to 3. All right, guys.
It's been good. It's been great. Until
Capers.
next time, everybody.
Capers out.
We out.
Yeah.
Those tasteful, salty little vegetables.
We've assembled. We've commentated. Now we disassemble.
Disassemble. Cape free. Disassemble.
Disassemble.